Welcome to the ACC Baseball Championship on ESPN. Today from beautiful Durham Bulls Athletic Park in Durham, North Carolina. It's the final game of the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. Defending champion and 6th seed Florida State taking on the red-hot Louisville Cardinals, the 5 seed. Both had to win semifinal games yesterday. The Cards' Josh Stores has been on fire. 6 hits in the tournament, including an RBI double yesterday against Pitt. Devin Mann, a triple and a homer as Louisville won at 5-2. Great game last night between Florida State and Clemson. Jackson Luke tied it at 4 with a solo shot in the 8th. And then in the 9th, he scored the game-winning run on a single by Red Apple. And look at Mike Martin, the legend, fired up after that 5-4 win. Hi again, everybody. Happy Memorial Day weekend alongside the professor, former Notre Dame infielder Mike Rooney. I'm Clay Matvick. It's going to be fun here today. Two of the blue bloods of college baseball, Florida State and Louisville, both in the College World Series last year. And today's their last chance to pad the NCAA tournament resume.
Yeah, you're spot on, Clay. You think about it, it's a surprise matchup by seed, but not by program. Two of the nation's most consistent programs. Florida State has been to 16 in the last 19 Super Regionals. Louisville has been to 5 in a row. A lot on the line in this game, though. Florida State's playing for a top 8 seed, and for Louisville, they're trying to be one of the top 16 hosts.
Florida State, of course, led by that man, Mike Martin, winningest coach in college baseball history. Passed Augie Garrido earlier this year, 1,986 wins. And he called last night's win over Clemson one for the ages. And that's saying something because he has coached close to nearly 4 decades. Here's the lineup for Florida State today. Mike Salvatore leading it off again. There you see Cal Raleigh. His .335 average leads the team. So do his 52 runs batted in. Dan McDonnell, in his 12th year at Louisville, he took the Cardinals to Omaha for the 4th time last year. Won ACC Coach of the Year in 15, 16, and 17.
I would argue this is the very best job Dan McDonnell's done. Has done a wonderful job with this very young Louisville club.
McDonnell's going to send Bobby Miller to the mound, the freshman. 5-1 with a 2.08 ERA, All-ACC third-teamer, and he made the All-ACC freshman team this year.
Yeah, speaking of youngsters, but it's really good stuff. It's what it's supposed to look like, too, Clay. 6'5", 200 pounds, 90 to 92 at the fastball, slider and a changeup. So it's the standard mix. The key, can he throw the slider for a strike?
Louisville defensively fielding at a 970 clip. They've got 4 errors in the tournament. The defense has been great the last couple of years for the Cardinals, not as sharp this year.
Well, and I think it's the result of a young team. I mean, there are 6 sophomores in the starting 9 for Louisville today, but I would say this, Clay, they are a much different team today than they were a month and a half ago.
Absolutely beautiful day here on this Sunday. 80 degrees in Durham. A lot of humidity, though. As Mike Salvatore steps in to face Bobby Miller. And the junior shortstop takes outside. Salvatore 3 for 13 in the ACC tournament. He has started all 60 games at short this year for Florida State. Whack foul on second, third.
Such a
strike.
Fun matchup, Clay, in that you know what you're getting with these two programs. Florida State, it's the relentless at-bats, leading the country in walks. Again, they just don't expand the strike zone. And for Louisville, a super aggressive, almost football-like style.
2-1 to Salvatore. Florida State, the 6th seed, winners of Pool C. Beat Virginia 3-2 in 11 innings. NC State 5-2, and Clemson last night 5-4. That rides inside. It's 3-1.
It's a lot for Bobby Miller, the freshman. This Florida State lineup is a lot to handle. They're just not going to expand the strike zone on you. If you can't get your fastball in, it's going to be a problem.
And he walked him. Pitching has been such a strong suit for Louisville this year, leading the ACC with a 3.18 ERA. But the leadoff man for Florida State is aboard on a free pass, and that brings up Jackson Luke, the switch-hitting DH, having another great ACC tournament.
Boy, and this is a really interesting kid. He's a switch hitter, a really good athlete. The numbers aren't quite what we expected from Jackson Luke, but he is dangerous.
There's a strike to Luke, who's 6 for 13 with a homer this week. His solo shot tied the game last night at 4 in the 8th inning.
Getting hot at the right time, Jackson Luke.
Salvatore at first after the walk. Luke had a terrific at bat in the 9th inning last night. 2-out walk that he worked. Was able to steal second to get into scoring position for Red Applin, who drove him home. Jackson Luke was the MVP of last year's ACC tournament, went 7 for 16 and 7 runs batted in. Of course, the tournament last year was held in Louisville, Kentucky.
And I would say, Clay, don't let the 258 batting average fool you. This is the top of the ACC type of player, and he is, again, really peaking at the right time.
Pulled foul, 1-2. His home run last night, his 15th of the year, which leads Florida State. These Noles going for their 2nd straight ACC tournament title and 8th overall. Beat North Carolina last year in Louisville in the title game. Won the tournament as the 8th seed. Talk about this year, a couple of higher seeded teams getting to the championship game. Well, last year Florida State in a lot of ways kind of surprised a lot of folks, being the 8th seed and winning.
And they had to go. Florida State was in real trouble at the end of last year, and they go to Louisville, which was a top 5 team in the country, and they win 2 games to really save their tournament hopes, and then next thing you know, they're in Omaha.
And one of the teams they beat last year were these Louisville Cardinals.
Just amazing, Clay, that both teams are here. I mean, Florida State lost a first-team All-American and Tyler Holton, their Friday night guy, before the season to Tommy John surgery.
It's down and in. Now a full count.
And then you think about Louisville. I mean, they lose players from last year's club like Drew Ellis, Brendan McKay, Devin Hairston, Cade McClure. Remember, Brendan McKay, you lost 2 National Player of the Years because Brendan McKay was a hitter and a Friday night guy.
And they just reload at Louisville now.
That's it.
Man on, nobody out here at the top of the 1st, and Luke is able to foul it off. Keep this bat alive.
I would say this, Clay, you can see why the Louisville coaching staff's really excited about Bobby Miller. He hadn't thrown a pitch that wasn't impressive. Changeup is good, slider's good, fastball is hot, not quite enough strikes, and if that's the case, Florida State will present a big problem for you.
Ground ball. Backhanded by Logan Wyatt at first. He'll go to second for the force. They get the lead runner, Salvatore. Nice play by Logan Wyatt, the Louisville first baseman, to get the first out of the inning.
And a really important play too, Clay, because you could feel this inning slipping away from Bobby Miller. What a play right there by Wyatt. Fitzgerald does a nice job just being a first baseman and collecting that out at second base. You keep the double play in order. Really critical out for Bobby Miller.
This is Red Applin, senior first baseman, 4 for 14 with a couple of runs batted in the tournament. None bigger than the one that won the game last night against Clemson. He hit a 2-2 fastball against first-team All-ACC closer Riley Gilliam.
That's a great baseball play. The cleat choice, though, Clay, I'm not so certain of. White cleats with the gold pants. Isn't that a party foul?
White cleats are coming back. Seen it more and more.
But with the gold pants, I'm throwing a flag on that. Although I'll say this, Clay, it's so bad, it's actually awesome.
Got your attention. One of the first things you noticed when you got to the park today.
They're kind of like pseudo high tops. It's Red Applin's like my John Kruk version 2.0. Just kind of a strange left-hander who can flat out hit.
And he's been right around 300 all year. A couple of homers, 33 driven in. He hits with one on and one out here in the first. When Miller has missed so far this inning, Runes, he has missed badly.
Yeah, but it's hot. I mean, that fastball is 94. It's a big, big arm. But to your point, Clay, if you cannot command your fastball, Florida State's just going to run your pitch count up. I would say Louisville's bullpen is in really good shape today, but certainly Dan McDonald doesn't want to get to it too early.
3-0 with Raleigh on deck. Checks his swing. He holds up. 2 on with 1 out. And I'll bring up Raleigh, who is the leading hitter for Florida State.
Well, this at bat right here could determine Bobby Miller's outing, because there is no hitter in America hotter than Cal Raleigh, and if not for a really good play by Logan Wyatt, Bobby Miller would be in a world of trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if pitching coach Roger Williams doesn't run out here and see if he can't change the momentum of this inning.
Well, they're sending some bodies down to the Louisville bullpen already. There's Dan McDonald.
That's a future Hall of Fame college baseball coach right there. It has done such an incredible job at Louisville. They have become a national power under Dan McDonald.
And here comes Roger Williams.
This is twofold, Clay. You know, number one is they're going to get some bullpen action going in a hurry, but you know, this is a talented freshman. That Bobby Miller is important to the Louisville, the future of their program, and this is a big start against a team like Florida State. They would love to see him work through this.
In 7 starts this year, all on the weekend, Miller has a 2.40 ERA. He did not pitch well his last time to the mound against Notre Dame in the regular season finale, and you're wondering if that maybe hasn't carried over here. Sometimes it's hard for a freshman to get over the last outing, whether it be on the mound or a bat at the plate.
Well, for all the freshmen, their high school season would have ended 2 months ago. So a lot of the freshmen are looking at you like, why are we still playing baseball? You know, I should be on summer vacation right now or playing with my travel team. So it's a long, long season. You hope they get a second wind after finals are over, which is the case right now.
Starting pitching has been so good, especially in this ACC tournament for Louisville, but Miller's struggling here in the first. And now he's got to deal with Cal Raleigh, the junior from right here in the state of North Carolina. 5 for 12 with a homer and 5 driven in this week. Swings at the first pitch, sends it toward the gap in left center. It's going to get off the base of the wall. Jackson Luke will trot home. Here comes Red Applin to score the throw. Not in time. And it's 2-0 Noles. Cal Raleigh delivers a 2-run double here in the first.
Right fielder number 7, Stephen Wells.
And just all over the first fastball he gets. The beautiful approach. Miller executes his pitch. It's down the way, but I'm telling you, Clay, Cal Raleigh is just on a different planet right now. I don't know how you get him out. You just hope that he doesn't come up in an impactful situation. He gets Florida State off to an incredible start here.
Raleigh now on a 15-game hitting streak. And Stephen Wells bats for Florida State. Squares around, pulls the bat back, 1 ball, no strikes. Stephen Wells, another senior right fielder, 3 for 11, 3 doubles in the tournament.
You can see Bobby Miller just trying to find something, a fastball location he can lean on, an off-speed pitch, but it's just coming up empty on every option.
Louisville ran some bodies out to the bullpen area, but nobody is warming up as of yet.
I like it. It's a little bit of a message to Bobby Miller. Come on, man, you got this. You're a talented young guy, and you're important to our postseason hopes. You can get through this.
The 2-0. There's some heat, 92 miles an hour, and Wells couldn't catch up with it. It's 2-1.
The good news for Bobby Miller is most of the damage is done. Cal Raleigh's not a good runner at second base. He runs like a catcher. It's not a compliment. And, it's going to take a single well away from an outfielder to score him.
Trying to hit that outside corner, missed. 3-1.
Yeah, you're just not going to get that ball when you've already walked two and you're spraying the ball all over the place. And that's off the plate. Jeff Gosley's not going to call that a strike the way your command is at this point.
Two runs already in. And now Miller battles back to fill out the count with Wells. Product of Key West High School, home of the Fighting Conks.
All right, go Conks.
You see Wells, 265, 7 homers, 28 runs batted in, having the best year of his career.
Great outfield arm, one of the best in the nation. I hope we get to see Wells throw today.
Popped up. And there's a collision between Miller and the third baseman, Levy. It is Miller who's able to hold on for the out, but just another uncomfortable situation for the freshman starter here in the first inning. And quickly, Dan McDonald comes out to make sure his starter's okay.
Boy, Bobby Miller shows you some toughness just to stay upright, because Justin Levy is a monster. That is, I mean, he looks like a Division I football player. If he's not hurt, that might be just what Bobby Miller needs to get himself in a groove here.
With that said, is that his ball to take? Should he have left that for the third baseman?
It's a divisive subject. I'm pro, even though I generally consider pitchers to be non-athletes, Clay. No offense to Kyle Peterson, but I'm in favor of pitchers catching that ball. I mean, it's just a little pop-up. Anybody can catch that. So I'm not in favor of infielders just barreling down pitchers because they can't catch a pop-up. They can.
2 outs now for Drew Mendoza, the sophomore third baseman for Florida State. He had a 2-run home run last night. He's 2 for 8. A couple of runs batted in here in the tournament.
Be real careful with your slider and changeup with Mendoza. I would want to beat him with fastball down and away. Anything soft and up becomes 4-0.
7 homers on the year. It's down and in. Blocked by Zach Britton. And Raleigh will stay put at second base. Mendoza tore it up in the title game last year against North Carolina. You and I were there in Louisville to see it. He hit 2 home runs in Florida State's 7-3 comeback win.
Is a super talent. Future first rounder Mendoza, left-handed hitting third baseman, super toolsy. Has had a tough second half. He was sitting in the 400s earlier in this year.
And he's ahead 3-0. So Bobby Miller has already thrown 26 pitches here in the first inning.
And it feels like 126. Yeah. It's been a tough 26 pitches. And that's not just him. That's Florida State. They really stress your pitcher.
Every batter has had a 3-ball count. The 3-0. Strike just at the knees. Mendoza had a couple of homers in the College World Series last year, too. He made the All-College World Series team. And Miller loses Mendoza, too. 3rd walk allowed this inning.
Left fielder, number 23.
And Reese Albert will get a chance here in the first.
This is where it gets fun, Clay. We've got freshmen impacting this game. Albert is a bright freshman for Florida State. You got Britton is a freshman catching for Louisville. Bobby Miller, freshman on the mound.
Reese Albert, rookie from Jupiter, Florida, got an opportunity to play every day after J.C. Flowers, the starting center fielder, got dinged up for a spell. Played really well in the field, started to hit pretty well, and been able to get him out of the lineup. First pitch to Albert. Foul back.
Interesting. You saw the velocity was 90 miles an hour, and the fastball had a little action towards the right-handed hitter away from Albert, the lefty, which to me means he threw a two-seamer. So you wonder if pitching coach Roger Williams is maybe going from the four-seam fastball to the two-seam just to try and find something for Bobby Miller.
.30 pitches here in the first for Miller. Another one that misses out of the zone.
Two things for Miller. Number one, you just got to get out of this first inning. But the second challenge will be he has no off-speed pitch for a strike. Not slider, not changeup. You see Roger Williams, one of the great pitching coaches we have in college baseball.
It's peeled out of play, 1-2.
I like it. Roger Williams calls that changeup again. Almost one of those things like a golf club where you can't hit your 8-iron, but you just got to keep putting it in play until you figure it out. He calls that changeup again. Thinking with Bobby Miller, if we don't have the changeup, we are not going to be long for this game.
1-2 to Reese Albert. The Louisville bullpen, Bruins, has been absolutely terrific here this week in Durham. They haven't allowed an earned run in 8 1/3 innings of work, but if they have to call on the bullpen here in the first.
Not ideal, but
no.
They do have depth. And I'll tell you, it's incredible because they're doing all this without Sam Bordner, who's a preseason All-American closer.
Again, the 1-2.
That's the thing, Clay. If Louisville gets Bordner healthy and back, and he's had a little bit of an arm issue, he is throwing now, but if they get Bordner back, man, they are really scary for the postseason.
Shea Smitty might be their best reliever right now. Pitched a couple of scoreless innings Friday against Duke. He would be available today. One-two, ground ball to second, should end the inning. But it is a long one for Bobby Miller, the freshman for Louisville. Florida State puts 2 on the board in the first. The ACC Baseball Championship is brought to you by USAA. Insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. And Subway. Make it what you want. After a 32 pitch top of the first, Florida State has a 2-run lead. Louisville will come to the plate for the first time. The 5 seed, winners of Pool D, beat Wake Forest 10-2, Duke 9-2, and beat Pitt 5-2 in the semis yesterday. They have outscored teams 24-6 this week with essentially this lineup. Fitzgerald leading it off. Devin Mann, Logan Wyatt in the 3 and 4 spots. Not only can they drive in runs, but they find ways on base. Those two have a combined 112 walks on the year.
Extremely athletic lineup like we always get out of Louisville, but it's young. And they're going to face a veteran Florida State arm in Andrew Karp, a redshirt junior. Very talented, Clay.
8-4 with a 3.32 ERA. tied for the ACC lead in victories.
You'll see it's a hard breaking ball, flashes of dominance up to 95 miles an hour. You'll be thinking to yourself, why is this guy throwing on the 4th day for Florida State? And he has pitched in many big games, but again, when it's good for Andrew Karp, it is very good.
Like you said, Florida State lost All-American ace lefty Tyler Holton on opening day. And Tommy John surgery, out for the year. Drew Parrish has been one of the guys who has moved into that quote-unquote ace role, and boy, did he look good on Friday night. Complete game, 14 strikeouts against NC State. So the starting pitching has been really good for Florida State here in the ACC tournament, too. Fitzgerald puts a charge in it to center. J.C. Flowers, very athletic center fielder, tracks it down. And that's out number 1.
The fielder, number 20, Jake Snyder.
Flowers in center. He's flanked by Albert and Wells. And you talked about the arm of Stephen Wells in right field. Mendoza, Salvatore, Rafael Bornegal, Brett Applin from third to first, and Cal Raleigh's catching Karp.
And you'll see Cal Raleigh, he is the heartbeat of this team. It's very vocal leadership back there. You brought up Drew Parrish. For me, Clay, he's the MVP of this Florida State team besides a Cal Raleigh, meaning that they lose a Tyler Holton. That is a death blow for a lot of programs and teams. And Parrish has really just said, I'll be your Friday night guy, and he's been outstanding.
Jake Snyder at the plate, 4 for 11 in the championship. 1-1. Bouncing ball to second, charging. Bornegal. Son of former Major Leaguer Rafael Bornegal. Throws out Snyder. 2 up, 2 down quickly here in the first.
Second baseman, number 7, Devin Mann.
And now this is Devin Mann. Back-to-back 3 RBI days. He's 5 for 12 in the tournament. Big hero yesterday in the semis against Pitt. Went 2 for 3 with an RBI triple to start his day. And then a 2-run homer, which really put it out of reach for Pitt, who had been the Cinderella story.
Great story.
Of this
Joe Giordano and that staff at Pitt have done such a great job transitioning from the Big East to the ACC in baseball. Not very easy, and great to see the Pitt program here in the semis.
Swung out and missed, 1 and 2.
I'll tell you, Clay, first of all, Andrew Karp, really sharp. Sharp with the breaking ball, sharp with the changeup. Devin Mann, we've seen this a million times at Louisville. A kid that's a good player for 2 years and then a star as a junior. So good with their player development.
The last start for Karp, he held the ACC's top offense to 2 runs on 8 hits over 8 innings, getting the win over NC State last weekend. Not easy to do. Swung on and missed. A very quick inning for Andrew Karp. A 1-2-3 first.
Andrew Karp really sharp from the get-go. Change up for a strike. Florida State up 2-0.
Well, it all comes down to Game 7 tonight on ESPN as LeBron and the Cavs meet the Celtics. The NBA Eastern Conference Finals presented by ExxonMobil. Game time 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Coverage starts at 7:30 with NBA Countdown presented by Mountain Dew Kickstart, which Mike Rooney drank about 3 or 4 of those before the game today. Of course, both of those are streaming live on the ESPN app.
I'll tell you, this is big because the Celtics and Cavaliers have to win the Eastern Conference now before my Sixers go on a run of about 10 in a row.
Is that right?
I'm sure LeBron is feeling that pressure, if I can speak for him.
Now the Cavs are going to be without Kevin Love tonight, so we'll see what happens. Rafael Bornegal leading it off for Florida State, leading 2-0 over Louisville. As Bobby Miller, the freshman starter for the Cardinals, had a tough first inning. He walked 3 Seminoles in the first, matching his season high of 2 walks for a game. right away in the first inning, and now he hits Bornagol to start the second.
Center fielder number 8, J.C. Flowers.
It is really starting to snowball right now on Bobby Miller. I mean, that's almost behind Bornagol. And I think the bullpen action will get rapid here.
Strike called to J.C. Flowers. Number 9 hitter, as the Louisville bullpen is starting to crank now. Brian Hoeing, junior right-hander, getting loose. Rafael Bornagol, 3 stolen bases in 3 attempts this year's at first. Nothing, and 2 to Flowers now. Flowers suffered a broken jaw March 25th at North Carolina. It required surgery. He ended up missing about 6 weeks. He only came back to play about 3 weeks ago. He's had a tough tournament here this week. He's 0 for 13. He's going to sit down with a called third strike. First strikeout for Miller.
I'll tell you, Bobby Miller really shows you something here, because I thought we were in full panic mode after the hit by pitch, and that's a 2-seam fastball that he starts off the plate and runs it into the strike zone. Perfectly executed.
Back to the top of the order, and Mike Salvatore. Runner goes back up the middle, knocks the glove off of Miller. One play for Devin Mann, that's to first. And they'll get Salvatore. Bornagol safely at second base.
Boy, really interesting call. This is hit and run right here, and Salvatore just has to go up the middle with it because it's a breaking ball away from him. Excellent play by Devin Mann to get an out. I'll tell you, Mike Martin, the third base coach for Florida State, who runs their offense, how about running a hit and run on this freshman who's spraying the ball over the place? Usually you want those consummate strike throwers. I like it. Trying to speed it up on them.
And it would have been hard for Devin Mann to turn the double play there, but it maybe helped keep him out of that too.
For sure. Yeah, that's the objective when you do the hit and run a lot of times, is you just want to stay out of a double play.
And now 2 outs for Luke. Down and in, knocked down. Zach Britton will keep it in front.
Just think of it, though, as a hitter's perspective. I mean, every hitter for Florida State knows Bobby Miller has sprayed the baseball all over the place. And then your coach gives you a hit and run. You're thinking, man, I don't know if this guy's going to throw it behind me or down the middle. And I'm supposed to hit and run with that? So good job by Mike Salvatore. And hey, Mike Martin Jr., just to have the courage to call that play. I like it.
The son of the boss has been working for his dad for a lot of years. Jackson Luke takes outside. There's Mike Martin Jr.
Awesome. He runs as good of an offense as anybody in college baseball. Does a fantastic job. Pretty good pedigree.
2 questions seem to loom larger every year. When does Mike hang it up, and who's going to take over when he does? I wonder if it's going to be Mike Martin Jr. Fly ball to left. Snyder has it. That ends the inning. Better inning for Miller.
The brand new ESPN app. Now with ESPN Plus. Get more ESPN and download now.
Clay Matvick and Mike Rooney back here at the ACC title game, 2-0 Florida State. I guess it's becoming a postseason tradition now for these
awesome.
Louisville Cardinals that they bleach their hair. And I know that they have persuaded Dan McDonnell to do it if they make the College World Series again.
Which he did last year. He did the frosted tips, Coach McDonnell. Look at how outstanding that is.
Ground ball into right field for Logan Wyatt. And the Louisville Cardinals are in business here in the second. First hit off of Andrew Karp for Louisville today.
neither of these two teams, it looked dire for Louisville early in this game. Neither of these teams going to panic, Clay. These are elite national programs where if you're going to beat them, you're going to have to do it for 9 innings. They are not going to go away.
And Josh Storrs comes up. Team captain, all ACC first teamer. He has reached base in 42 straight. 6 for 13 in the championship with a homer and 9 runs batted in. Terrific numbers. Leading the team in all the Triple Crown categories. And he's ahead in the count 2-0.
Baseball's a funny game, too. Dan McDonald was dying for Josh Storrs to be their leadoff hitter, and it just wasn't working. And they move. He's their most dynamic player. He wanted him at the top. They've moved him to the 5-hole, and it has been on fire ever since.
Chops this one down the line, foul. Yeah, he batted first in the first 19 games, and since moving down the order, he's hitting .422 with 40 runs batted in.
Amazing. That's the thing you learn about making lineups, Clay. I'll give you a rule in life for making baseball lineups.
Wait, let me get my pen ready. Go ahead.
Yeah, it works until it doesn't work anymore.
I knew it was going to be something profound.
So there you go. Words to live by.
Expect nothing less from the college baseball professor Mike Rooney, who will be in studio for the selection show tomorrow.
Can't wait for that. Gosh, that is a fun day.
3-1 to Storrs. Down and away. Walked him. So a base hit and a walk allowed by Andrew Karp, who had a 10-pitch first inning. And set down the Cardinals in order 1-2-3.
Really interesting how Bobby Miller had as nightmarish a first inning as you could have and then recovers with a great second. And Andrew Karp was dominant in the first, and now he's off to a tough second. But you love Cal Raleigh running out there. There's the freshman. I'll tell you, Clay, that takes a lot. You're a true freshman pitching on this stage against this team. To calm yourself down and not be out of this game, that's impressive.
Here's Drew Campbell now. He's hit right around the 300 mark all year. Comes into today hitting .309 with a couple of homers and 28 runs batted in. You see the bases. Wyatt at second, Storrs at first. Now the bases are clogged in front of him, but Storrs has 33 stolen bases. It's pop foul. The other thing about Louisville is, and it's been this way for a few years, the speed just kills you.
They recruit athletes on offense, and it leads to good defense, and Dan McDonald likes an up-tempo offense. Louisville is always a team that runs a lot. You'll see bunting game. You'll see hit and run. Dan McDonald is not a station-to-station coach.
Good bunt. Campbell, well executed. Pushes Wyatt to third, Storrs to second. One down for Danny Oriente.
Designated hitter number 9, Danny Oriente.
He'll get some high fives.
Really, it's not as easy as it looks when you foul off or you struggle with your first bunt attempt and you recover to make the second one. Well done.
Sophomore designated hitter Danny Oriente from Downers Grove, Illinois. 1 for 12 in the tournament. He went 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts yesterday against Pitt. However, he has hit .351 over the last 33 games with 29 RBIs. Checks his swing. He did go. The first base umpire today is Greg Street. Jeff Gosney is calling balls and strikes. The 1-1 from Karp. You know what I like about Karp's windup? Is it's a traditional windup with both hands over the head. You just don't see that as much.
Kicking it old school.
Breaking ball. A foul.
It's very 1950-ish,
yeah,
which we like. He looks like an old soul like you, Clay. Andrew Carr.
Get on the hands, whack to third. Mendoza's there. He'll flip across the diamond to get the out. But Wyatt comes in for the first run of the day for Louisville. It's 2-1. Run batted in for Danny Oriente, his 36th of the year.
That's a good piece of hitting in that, Clay. You just let yourself get jammed, get your ground ball, get the RBI. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done. And Oriente's a guy that they have high hopes for. Another one of those Chicago kids, like a Nick Solak, and boy, they have had so many good players from Chicago.
And it seems like yesterday that Solak was playing second base for him. All-American, I believe.
Yeah, no question. Second round pick. The Birdie brothers. Louisville has had a great run of Chicago players.
Zach Britton, another youngster from Batesville, Indiana, just his fourth at bat in the tournament. He's 1 for 3. Freshman catcher making his 20th start of the season today. They've kind of had a rotating situation behind the plate this year. Zeke Pinkham started yesterday. He's a junior. Junior Pat Romero has had the majority of the starts this year, 33 in all, but he's battling an injury. That's a strike, 2-1.
I like them investing in Britton because you can tell he's got a chance to be a very offensive catcher.
Yeah, they feel he is their best offensive choice right now.
I better throw another Chicago player in there for Louisville. How about Corey Ray? 5th pick overall in the draft. It's incredible. Great job of recruiting here at Louisville.
2-2.
It's a big out for Andrew Karp. The key for him today is just minimize the damage. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it looks like your offense is going to be in good shape. So can you minimize these damage situations?
Speedy Stores at second. And Karp gets Britton to strike out. Second strikeout for Karp. Florida State leading 2-1. Cal Raleigh, who has a 2-run double to his credit, will bat second. ACC Baseball Awards. The Freshman of the Year this year, Patrick Bailey of NC State. The Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, the outstanding catcher at Georgia Tech, Joey Bart. Brian Brown of NC State was the ACC Pitcher of the Year. And Coach of the Year for the first time in this league, Mike Fox of North Carolina.
I'll tell you, Clay, this has always been a players' league, and you think Patrick Bailey, exciting switch-hitting catcher. Joey Bart is a kid that there's rumors that the Tigers are considering him and Casey Mize for that first pick overall. And Brian Brown, by the way, is from suburban Philly, Clay. So it brings, you're going to get your charisma, your toughness, and he's a huge Eagles fan.
Broad Street tough, right?
That's right. Amen.
Trying to get on with a bunt is Rhett Applin. He's going to push it foul. How about that? The big first baseman in the 3-hole trying to get on and laying it down.
Interesting. It's kind of like a 7-footer trying to take a 3-pointer.
I think it's the shoes. He thinks he's faster than he really is.
It's a great point. The white high tops. If we were playing pickup basketball, those would be perfect.
Bobby Miller had a 10-pitch second inning after he threw 32 to get out of the first inning. Florida State got to him for 2 runs in the first.
That's why he's trying to bunt. You see the third baseman's basically playing shortstop. They've got a big-time shift going on for Applin.
You know, we were talking about Mike Fox. He hopes his North Carolina Tar Heels are going to be a top 8 national seed, which would mean that they'd have home field advantage through the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, the regionals and the super regionals. Pitches down and in, 2-2. The RPI for North Carolina Runes coming into the day is 8. They're right there on the bubble.
Yeah, it's Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina all fighting for a top 8 seed.
Check this swing. Did he go? Yes. They appeal to the third base umpire, David Savage. Second strikeout for Bobby Miller.
And a really good changeup. You see that ball just, boy, I don't know. Did he go here? I mean, that's that can go either way. I always love that if for the umpire, they see it in fast motion, we see it in slow motion, and we're still not sure. More than anything, Clay, that's just a really good pitch by Bobby Miller.
Raleigh extended his hitting streak to 15 with that 2-run double last time up.
I'll tell you, Clay, if I was facing Cal Raleigh right now, and you see right away, first pitch of the at-bat in a big spot, he's going to the other side of the field. I mean, he is locked in every way, shape, and form right now.
Ground ball to second, and that's going to ride up over the shoulder of Devin Mann into short right field. Raleigh will be aboard on the air. And it's the 5th error against Louisville here in the ACC tournament.
Right fielder number 7, Stephen Wells.
Bobby Miller, look on his face is thinking, man, I almost got Cal Raleigh out. Like, that's not that easy. When you're hot in this game, everything's good. Even the outs are hits, or on base, I should say.
Man on, 1 out for Stephen Wells, who popped up to Miller back in the first inning.
So this is a real important point for Bobby Miller, Clay, because your first inning was a disaster, your second inning was really good, and now some real difficult adversity here in the third. Can you fight through this? In essence, you're going to have to get 4 outs this inning. Can you do it?
Two and 0. You were talking about Joey Bart as the ACC Player of the Year, maybe #1 overall pick in the June draft. Everyone thinks it's going to be Casey Mize, though, that I talked to. That's inside. It's going to get all the way to the screen. On to second is Cal Raleigh. Raleigh, though, you got to wonder where he's going to go in the draft. Very dependable, durable. Today's his 184th consecutive start. Switch hitting catchers are rare. And the way this guy plays, someone's going to get a great buy in a catcher.
I'll tell you what I'm hearing from scouts is 2nd round to 4th round. You know, Cal Raleigh's not in one of those elite athletes. He's just an elite baseball player. And sometimes you're drafted on projection, not who you are today. But he has just outperformed the draftness of this whole situation. He's just been so good. So I think he would be a great pick in rounds 2 through 4. What a comeback, too. Cal Raleigh had a really difficult sophomore year, and now he's had a tremendous junior season.
They walked him. Stephen Wells is aboard. And that is the 4th walk allowed by Bobby Miller. Tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN2, Sunday Night Baseball. Presented by Taco Bell. It'll be in Chicago for Giants and Cubs, the series finale. Matt, Alex, and Jess are going to be in the crowd sitting with the fans to call the game tonight. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on Baseball Tonight. Sunday Night Countdown presented by Chevrolet. And both are streaming live on the ESPN app. We could have done that here at Durham Bulls Athletic Park, I guess, if we'd have called ahead and said that's where we want to sit in the outfield.
That's right. Isn't that a cool idea? Sitting in the stands?
Great.
I've sat in the stands in Wrigley. That's awesome.
I want to be up over the Blue Monster by Tobacco Road calling this game. That restaurant out there. Drew Mendoza at the plate. Zach Britton has had to slide around back behind the dish to block a lot of balls as you look at the restaurant out there. That would be a great place to call it.
No doubt. This is an awesome park. I'll tell you, those people better be alert because Drew Mendoza's got a chance to hit one up there at him. Put the nachos down for a hitter here.
Mendoza walked his first time up. 2 on, 1 out for Florida State, leading 2-1.
That's a good pitch right there. That's where you want to be if you're Bobby Miller. Fastball down and away. If Drew Mendoza wants to hit a single to left field, you'll take that. But nothing soft and up or middle in fastball where he can turn and burn and make this a 5-1 game.
The 1-1 pitch. 1-2. Mendoza has started every game at third base this year for Florida State. Last year, you'll remember, he was the first baseman. He missed the first 26 games with a thumb injury. Brian Hoeing warming up for Louisville. Base hit to center. Raleigh being waved around. He'll score easily. It scoots away from Josh Storrs, who gets it back on the infield. Wells will stop at third. And Florida State now leads it 3-1. As Drew Mendoza delivers his 41st run batted in on the year.
What a beautiful piece of hitting. RBI situation. Your friend is the middle of the field. Mendoza doesn't try to do too much, takes the fastball away, hammers it up the middle of the field. Really not throwing Raleigh out anyway on that, but what a great at bat. And Drew Mendoza starting to put some really nice at bats together as the Noles head to the deeper into the postseason.
And now Zach Britton is going to jog out to the mound, maybe a stall tactic here for Louisville.
Well, I think
you see the bullpen. Brian Hoeing has been warming up for some time.
And he's their long guy. He's got great stuff. He's had several starts this year. But I think if you're Roger Williams, what's discouraged you was the second inning was so good. Miller goes strikeout, ground ball that should have been an out, and his response to the error was a walk. And it just, I think if you're Roger Williams, you're thinking, man, this has been a lot for the freshman. Have we lost him?
4 walks, a hit by pitch, and you're right, that error didn't help him. Run that has scored here this inning unearned. Bobby Miller has had a tough outing here in the ACC championship game.
Seen a little bit of everything from him. We've seen what it's going to look like when he really gets confident and comfortable later in his career, and then the struggles that you can see from freshmen.
Dan McDonnell has had such great starting pitching this week. Freshman lefty Reed Detmers went 5 2/3 to beat Wake Forest on Wednesday. Adam Wolf, the junior lefty, 1 run over 7 to take care of Duke. And then Nick Bennett went 6 solid to take out Pitt yesterday. Pitching change here in Durham.
Your attention, please.
Hoeing coming in. We'll talk about him next. Here's Bobby Miller. He goes 2 1/3 today, gives up a couple of earned runs. 4 walks, really stands out. 61 pitches in 2 1/3 innings. He was in trouble right out of the get-go today. Brian Hoeing will try and relieve the pressure here for the Louisville Cardinals. He comes on with 2 on and 1 out here in the 3rd.
Hoeing's what starting pitchers look like. He's become their long man. It's a a guy they thought would probably be in their weekend rotation. It's really good stuff.
6'6", 228 pounds, junior from Batesville, Indiana.
Has settled in as a good reliever. Just been a little inconsistent as a starter. He's a guy that with a lot of pedigree came in with a lot of hype. You could see why. It's just he looks like a big-time pitcher, and he's got a great arm.
This is going to get to the backstop. Sails over the glove of Zach Britton, and it's 4-1 Noles. Stephen Wells scores on the wild pitch. That's not the way you want to come out of the bullpen.
No, it sure isn't. And it just looks like a fastball that sails on him and Britton can't handle. That's been a challenge for Hoeing. It's just the stuff is so good, but can he consistently command it?
Swing and a miss by Reese Albert, who grounded out to second his first time up. Second appearance for Hoeing here in the ACC tournament. Pitched 2 1/3 innings in the win over Wake Forest. Looked pretty good doing it.
Those two pitches right there look pretty good. That's 93 and 94 with some run away from the left-hander and the ball just exploding out of Hoeing's hand.
Britton sets up outside and it misses way outside. Full count.
Zach Britton has got his hands full. The freshman catcher, he has caught 2 really live arms today.
Good power at the plate here in Reese Albert. 7 homers on the year. And he looks at strike 3 on the inside corner.
The old Greg Maddox pitch. It's arm side run. You started off the plate and watch that ball run right back onto the plate. This is in on Albert, and again, that's 93, 94 miles an hour with that kind of movement. If Hoeing can be in the strike zone, he could get deep into this game for Louisville.
Now Rafael Bornegal, the senior grad transfer from Belmont University in Nashville, fouls it back. His dad Rafael played at Florida State for 11. His son does too. Dad played 8 years in the majors. There you see Drew Mendoza out at second. Ground ball past the pitcher into center field. Base hit. Coming around to score is Mendoza. That makes it 5-1 Florida State. Rafael Bornegal. Just his 18th run batted in on the year, but it's a big one here in the ACC title game.
Sure is, because for Florida State, their bullpen not nearly as deep as Louisville's. And how about the breaking ball? Bornegal stays on the breaking ball. This Florida State offense is something else.
Now here's J.C. Flowers, who swings at the first pitch, chops it to Levy at third. And Florida State is done here in the 3rd inning, but not before tacking on 3 more to extend their lead to 4. This was on May 5th, the night that Mike Martin passed the late great Augie Garrido to become the winningest coach in college baseball history. He's sitting at 1.986 now. An extra inning win over Clemson earlier this month. Made his 16th trip to Omaha last year. This is going to be his 39th straight year of making the national tournament, the longest active streak in the country. What a great man. He has turned out so many great players over the years. And what a program he has built over 4 decades.
Incredible. You just think about that number. You know, it's unthinkable. It's how many wins that is. I mean, it's basically 2,000 wins. And if he ever has a season with 40 wins and just a regional, that's all he does, that'll be the worst season he ever had.
Hit well toward the corner in right. And it's foul for Justin Levy, the only man who hasn't hit in the game today in either team's starting lineup. Justin Levy, sophomore third baseman from Kenosha, Wisconsin. 3 for 10 with a run batted in this week. Check foul.
I always have to pull my calculator out, Clay, when I talk about Mike Martin, because the math doesn't make sense. He's basically won 50 games a year for 40 years. Both of those things are almost impossible. to win 50 games once feels impossible.
91 All-Americans he has turned out. 18 first-round draft picks, 4 Golden Spikes winners. So the other thing is, you know, the longevity. But getting the players to Tallahassee and then turning them into superstars is what he has been really good at. This is really belted to left center by Levy. And Flowers runs into the power alley and tracks it down for out number 1. Hit a long way, but it's an out for Louisville here in the 3rd.
Shortstop number 2.
You know, the other thing on Mike Martin, Clay, is the ACC is one of the very best baseball conferences in the country every year. And Florida State's success is a big part of that, because you know you have an anchor program like Florida State who is always going to be in the national picture. They've been to a super regional 16 of the last 19 seasons. That's the best in the country.
One of the many reasons that Louisville was excited about joining the ACC a few years back. All right, Florida State has made the ACC a power conference. Mike Martin, 1986 is what he's sitting on now. 7-time ACC Coach of the Year. He's hoping to get back to Omaha again this year.
16 trips to Omaha. You know, and Clay, here's the thing that needs to be said. He's one of the best people we have in college baseball.
No question.
But let's not mistake the guy for just a nice guy. He is a fierce competitor. We saw the reaction at the beginning of the game of when they beat Clemson in that great game to get here. He was fired up. A fierce competitor.
Tyler Fitzgerald at the plate. 2-2.
And it's a great lesson too, right? You can be a great person and a great winner at the same time. You don't have to be a jerk to be a big winner. Not necessarily saying that to you, Clay.
You were looking right at me when you said it. Outside, full count. The RPI for Florida State is 6 coming into the day. They have a pretty good chance to be a top 8 national seed, and that would be huge for Mike Martin's bunch to be at home for the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament if they can do it.
Yeah, think of it. Someone's going to have to beat them twice in Tallahassee to keep them from Omaha.
Up and in. Andrew Karp gives up a 1-out walk here in the 3rd inning. Now Memorial Day Monday. Baseball triple header for you. Starting at 1 Eastern, Astros, Yankees, then the White Sox and Indians. And it wraps up with the Giants and Rockies at 7 Eastern. All 3 games presented by Kingsford. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. Great way to celebrate Memorial Day, the day we honor those who paid the ultimate price so we can sit around and watch baseball on Memorial Day.
Love it. Absolutely awesome.
Jake Snyder's at the plate now for the Cards with 1 out. Grounded out to the second baseman, Bornegal, his first and only time up.
Like it when the teams do the very patriotic uniforms too. You see that for Louisville with the red, white, and blue there.
Clangs off the facade here at Durham Bulls Athletic Park. There you see the patriotic unis today for the Cards.
Even the money sleeve is patriotic. That's awesome. Look at that.
So
I was surprised you're not broadcasting a money sleeve today, Clay.
Money sleeve.
That's what it's called.
Skips in the dirt. Cal Raleigh keeps it in front.
Raleigh, a really important person in this game for Florida State because Karp has kind of come and gone. It's been very sharp at times and then has just kind of fallen off. So see if Cal Raleigh can't get Karp really locked in here. Love how demonstrative Cal Raleigh is. You see, I mean, he is really trying to get synced up with Andrew Karp.
1-2. Swung on and missed, struck him out. Snyder goes down. 3rd strikeout for Andrew Karp.
Karp has had one heck of a changeup here today. Snyder is a guy that can really handle the bat. You're not going to see him fooled that badly very often. What a changeup.
2 outs for Mann. Raleigh with the throw down to first. Diving back is Fitzgerald. Raleigh has thrown out 13 of 60 would-be base stealers. That's 22%.
Boy, Karp he has got that changeup dialed in, Clay.
He gave up the 1 run in the 2nd inning.
It's pitching coach Mike Bell. I bet you I know what he called right now.
Hit high and deep to left center, and it is up and out of here. Home run for Devin Mann. It got up over the wall in one of the deepest parts of the park. 6th home run of the year for Mann. And what a tournament this guy is having.
What an in-bat adjustment by Devin Mann. The changeup has been filthy for Karp, and he gets another one. It's supposed to be down, and it's just up enough. Look at Mann stay back on this. Boy, that is beautiful. Doesn't try to do too much. Awesome to see him come into his own.
The Blue Monster here in Durham is 32 feet high. By comparison, Fenway's Green Monster is 37 feet high. Mann got it just up over the wall in left center for the 2-run shot.
That's super impressive because Karp had really started to settle in and dominate the Louisville hitters. And then Mann puts that adjustment on him.
Now Logan Wyatt if there were 2 outs.
And I'll tell you, Clay, you're Mike Bell and you're calling pitches for Karp. That'll cause you some pause where you feel like you've got a dominant pitch you can lean on, and then next thing you know, it's out of here.
Healthy cut by Wyatt, 1-2. Well, this was starting to feel real comfortable for Florida State, and all of a sudden, Devin Mann rides one out of here with 2 outs to make this a ball game again.
It's Louisville and Florida State. Whoever wins the game when these two teams get after each other, it's just not going to be comfortable.
Logan Wyatt, single and a run scored his first time up. He leads the ACC in doubles and walks. 59 walks on the year. And he strikes out here for out number 3. So Karp gets his 4th strikeout, but it comes 1 batter too late. Devin Mann with a 2-out, 2-run homer to bring Louisville within 2. It all comes down to Game 7 tonight. LeBron and the Cavs and the Celtics. NBA Eastern Conference Finals presented by ExxonMobil, 8:30 Eastern. Coverage tips at 7:30 with NBA Countdown. The Celtics haven't lost a home game since April the 8th.
Yeah, that Brad Stevens guy's fairly competent, coach.
Salvatore rips it into left field for a leadoff hit here to start the Seminoles 4th. They're leading 5-3.
If you're going to win this ACC championship today, Clay, you better be able to take a punch. It is incredible to see these two teams just going at each other right now.
Now Jackson Luke will hit. Fielder's choice and a run scored, also flew out to left. Ground ball. Could be 2. Mann to Fitzgerald to Wyatt. That's Brian Hoeing's best friend in that situation.
That is huge. It just felt like Florida State was going to be going again. He takes that 2-seam fastball and runs it away, and Luke can't stay inside it. He rolls over. Really nice turn by Devin Mann. Jackson Luke can run. That is not an easy guy to turn into a double play. Boy, oh boy, Clay. Devin Mann, hello. I mean, he has really turned himself. He was a good player in the past, but reminds me of Drew Ellis from last year at Louisville, where these kids go from, he's a good player, to he's a star.
Mann and Stowers, the only regulars back from last year's team that made it to the College World Series. Mann has had some big moments here in this ACC tournament. He had a bases clearing double against Duke on Friday. Red Applin up there. And Hoeing glad to be facing him with the bases empty and 2 outs. Applin a walk and a strikeout. Breaking ball falls in there. It's 1-2.
Boy, Hoeing makes some pitches that just are incredible. That breaking ball, that's a real big-time breaking ball right there. The fastball is running all over the joint. Consistency is not always perfect, but boy, it's good when it's good. You can see very clearly, Clay, why they were dying for him to be a member of the weekend rotation. Now, it just works out the way it does. You know, he's ended up being a great long reliever for him.
The ground ball to the right side. Mann will flip to first. And Hoeing faces the minimum in the 4th after the leadoff single by Salvatore. Middle of the 4th, it's 5-3 Noles. Another college baseball coaching legend from the Sunshine State is getting ready to hang it up. Jim Morris was honored with a ceremony on May 19th before the Boston College game. The longtime Miami head coach. About 35 former players, plus, of course, the current team saluted him that day. A couple of national titles in '99 and 2001 for Jim Morris. And you look at Miami. They beat Notre Dame 6-2 here this week, but then lost 7-1 to Clemson. The RPI 64 coming into the day. It just doesn't appear that Jim Morris is going to extend his career into the NCAA tournament.
No, but what a great finish. You know, Miami suffered some really tough injuries earlier in the year, and they won 11 straight before that final loss in this tournament. So it's not going to be enough for an at-large bid, but the Hurricanes made a great run. And I would say this, Jim Morris, everyone calls him 3 because that's his jersey number. He's another guy on the Mount Rushmore of ACC baseball, just an icon in this league.
Swing and a miss by Stores. It's 2-2.
He got the job at Miami, Clay, and you know that's a tough job. You're inheriting Ron Frazier's legacy, and he takes them to Omaha 6 straight years, 2 national championships. Just a great run at Miami for Jim Morris.
Quarter of a century in length. Before that, he spent a dozen years at Georgia Tech. So his total body of work, 32 NCAA tournaments, 13 College World Series trips, and 2 national titles. This is hit a ton. Deep left center field. Off the top of the... Yeah, it's gone. Home run. Josh Stores did get it out of here. His 9th home run of the year. And Louisville is within a run.
I'm telling you, Clay, you do not want to see Louisville in the postseason right now. You've got Devin Mann is hot, Josh Stores. It's a 3-2 fastball, middle, and he's in a kind of zone right now where that type of pitch is going to get hurt. Wow, that's way out of here.
Yeah, it landed off the pavement out there and then bounced back into play. Josh Stores, 9 homers now, 59 runs batted in on the year. His 2nd home run here in the ACC tournament, and Louisville's within a run of Florida State. They have scored runs each of the last 3 innings. And Andrew Karp, who has appeared really on his game at times here today, Runes. Now probably questioning himself a little bit.
And I think that's why Mike Martin went to the mound. He's basically saying to Andrew Karp, Andrew, you've thrown some pitches today that are what it takes to dominate. And then we've just had some pitches where we didn't execute. So what do we need to do? Let's take a deep breath. But you've got plenty of stuff to make this happen today.
And now the first pitch to Drew Campbell is laced into center field. A ringing single back up the middle. And Louisville is really starting to time up Andrew Karp.
No question. And that's one thing that both of these offenses have in common is they go for the kill. When they sense you're weak, they are coming at you.
Clayton Kwiatkowski, sophomore left-hander, trotting out to the bullpen for the Seminoles. Danny Oriente, RBI ground out, his only time to the plate.
I'll tell you, if I'm Mike Martin, I might make that move to Kwiatkowski sooner than later. To your point earlier, Clay, Louisville is just really dialed in on Karp.
Campbell, 5 stolen bases on the year in 5 attempts. Not the most fleet of foot in the stable for the Cardinals, but it does seem like everybody in the lineup can steal a bag.
Yep, base running is really important to Dan McDonnell. It's what he coaches personally at Louisville. It's something, a part of the offense that he takes full responsibility for. So they are aggressive, and almost everybody can run.
And they're going to keep an eye on Oriente.
You'd see him flinch over there.
Here's Dan McDonnell.
I think Dan McDonnell's given the red light sign. He saw Campbell flinch at first base, and he said, hey, we are not running here. Don't want to give Karp an out when he's struggling.
Junior righty comes set, long look. And now it's 2-0.
That would really concern me. You could see Oriente's take was very comfortable. And think about it, Devin Mann crushed a changeup for a home run. Stores and Campbell smoked fastballs. So you're running out of options if you're Mike Bell calling pitches. They're going to pick the first here, and that can be a stall tactic.
Kwiatkowski continues to churn in the Florida State bullpen.
I like getting a lefty in here against Louisville, who's got a lot of lefties in their lineup, and it's just an odd look. It's a different look.
Hit well. Left center, gets down for a hit. Campbell will make a big turn around second and then dive back into the bag. Oriente delivers. 2 on. Still nobody out. Zach Britton will hit. 3 straight hits for the Cardinals against Andrew Karp, and they've got him on the ropes.
This is tricky for Mike Martin because they don't have a ton of options in the bullpen. C.J. Van Eyck is their #1 guy in the pen. He's not available today, so it's going to be Kwiatkowski, Scalero, Connor Grady. They don't have unlimited options in that bullpen, but boy, Andrew Karp is struggling.
And Van Eyck pitched last night and got the win in relief. Essentially the guy that's only from that bullpen unavailable. Swung on and missed by Britton, who struck out against Karp his last time up. He's 0 for 1.
Britton has been the one guy in this order that just hasn't put together a good at bat yet. Everybody else looks awfully locked in.
Square one up. Contact.
This is hit well for Britton. Making a bid. Goodbye, home run. Just the second of the year for the freshman Zach Britton, but it's huge as Louisville storms in front here in Durham. Mike Martin staying with Andrew Karp, maybe one pitch too long, and Florida State's lead has evaporated.
Just a change-up hanging up, and just the adjustments that the Louisville hitters are making. Great effort by Flowers. Loses his hat and his glove on that play. A little yard sale here at the end.
Four hits in the inning, two of them bombs. And Louisville is playing with the lead for the first time today. That's all for Andrew Karp. 7-5 Cardinals here in the fourth. It's been a big fourth inning for the Louisville Cardinals. It started with Josh Storrs leaving the yard, a solo shot to start the inning. Drew Campbell a single, Danny Oriente a single, and then Zach Britton a 3-run job to right center. A 4-run inning, knocking Andrew Karp out of the game. And Louisville has its first lead 7-5.
Just incredible how quickly Louisville's hitters made adjustments. Karp was brilliant in the first inning, and then Louisville just relentless.
So Clayton Kwiatkowski comes on. This will be his second appearance of the ACC tournament. Sophomore from Tampa. Noles will try their luck with a lefty here. Justin Levy at the plate for Louisville. He has flown out to center. 25th appearance for Kwiatkowski. And this one is hit well by Levy. The left fielder Reese Albert has it measured for the first out. Everything is being hit hard now by these Cardinals.
I mean, the Louisville offense kind of reminds me of a basketball team that full court presses, and boy, when they get you sped up, it's a long day, and that's what this offense does. When they get rolling, it is definitely a momentum offense.
And the offense is back at the top of the order for Fitzgerald. He'll try to bunt his way on and sends it foul. Fitzgerald walked and scored his last time around. Kwiatkowski got the win against Virginia, his only appearance of the tournament. 3 2/3 innings of work. Struck out 4, but he also walked 3. And that's one thing we have seen about this Louisville lineup today and throughout the season. These are patient, smart hitters. They know how to coax walks.
No question. On both sides. I mean, both of these offenses can beat you so many different ways, but they are not going to leave the strike zone for you.
Case in point, 1 and 2.
You can tell Mike Martin's thinking this is go time in this game. Kwiatkowski and C.J. Van Eyck, who's not available today, they're their two most important relievers. This is the high leverage situation. He's going to Kwiatkowski right away.
Breaking ball misses down 2 and 2 to Tyler Fitzgerald.
I like Mike Martin's thinking in that you go to a lefty, try and change the look for Louisville, but the first two hitters do not seem bothered.
Inside corner, they got him. 2 down.
The fielder, number 20, Jake Snyder.
That's a pitch to keep an eye on, Clay. The fastball in, when you've got two offenses that are really on it and they're on your fastball and your off-speed stuff, run the fastball in on their hands, see if you can't speed their bat up. Perfectly executed by Kwiatkowski.
Jake Snyder at the plate. Snyder 0 for 2. There's his dad, Eric, in the third base coaching box. Cardinals hitting coach.
Does such a good job. Great recruiter, and I tell you, it's got to be tough to coach your son
I was
at this
just
level.
going to say that, especially at this level.
The good news for Eric Snyder is that his son Jake is not a good player. He's a great player.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier.
Yes. You either want your kid to be the best player or one of the best players at the team or the worst. That's what I've been told by
That's fair.
guys who coach their kids. It's a lot easier that way.
And Jake plays like a coach's kid, too, by the way. Really cerebral player. Very fundamentally sound.
He's been in the 2-hole all season long. Now full count here with 2 outs. 4 runs already in for Louisville. Eric very proud right now in that third base coach's box as his team has taken the lead. This one is struck well to short. Salvatore gobbles it up. And that's the 3rd out. But 4 straight hits, including 2 homers. Louisville has the lead. We'll talk to the bench boss, Dan McDonnell, next. Louisville with a 7-5 lead now after putting up 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th. And now we've got Dan McDonnell, Louisville head coach, on headset.
Mac, this is, it's late May, and you got 6 sophomores in your lineup, and look up, and here's one of these old school Louisville offenses, just super aggressive, momentum. But I want to ask you about Stores and Devin Mann, what they're doing here late in this season.
Well, they're the key. Probably put too much pressure on themselves early in the year with the young lineup. They've settled in. They've gotten better. We've continued to coach them, and it's fun seeing those 2 guys are really carrying us this week.
Bobby Miller had a tough start here today, Coach, but Brian Hoeing has seemingly picked him up.
Hoeing's been phenomenal. This is the role we've used him in most of the year. He just seems very comfortable coming out of the bullpen. He could give us several innings, and, it was a good learning tool for Bobby, because I told Bobby, hey, you're facing a team like this in a regional championship. We had 4 free bases. We made an error. 5 free bases and a couple pass balls. That's going to lead to some crooked runs against a good team like Florida State.
I'll say this about your bunch. They're pretty loose, judging on what's going on.
The hair looks great, too.
Yeah, well, we started the postseason early this year, so they started the hair a couple weeks ago, and it's been fun. We've been playing good baseball.
Are you going to do the hair?
I always make a deal with them. We got to win a few more games before I color that hair. I got a lot of gray in it, though. I need to color it anyway.
We'll hold you to it.
Okay.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
I'm not exactly sure who that was pulling that stunt behind Coach, but it was hilarious.
So great. I'm all in on the dugout shenanigans during the interview. That's the highlight. Cal
Raleigh. He has squared just about everything up this week. He's out here.
So we got the pant. That's well done. I'd like to see some stirrups, though. So we go shoe, stirrup, and then pants. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he took the Cardinals to the College World Series in his first season at Louisville in 2007. And you alluded to this earlier, how dominant they have been ever since. That's more than a decade. It has changed college baseball in that part of the country. Kentucky has gotten better, I think, because Louisville has been good. The ACC has gotten better because Louisville has come into the league. And Dan McDonnell has done a terrific job since getting hired.
No question. You think about their first 3 years in the ACC. This is year 4. Dan McDonnell, they had 30 ACC series. That's what you play, 10 a year. They went 26-4. We were worried about Louisville coming in the ACC. They just came in and dominated. Yeah. And I would say, Dan McDonnell was the assistant at Ole Miss for Mike Bianco. He came here to Louisville, and this was a program that was very average and has turned it into a top 5 national power.
Well, Mike Bianco thinks so much of Dan McDonnell and the Louisville program that he said, you know what, I'm going to send my son there. Ben Bianco plays for these Louisville Cardinals. Freshman doesn't get a lot of playing time, but he's an up-and-comer. That's a real tip of the cap when you want your son to play for another coach.
No doubt.
Ground ball chopped off the bat of Stephen Wells.
Boy, Hoeing looks good. This is explosive stuff. His fastball is into the mid-90s. With tremendous life.
It's down and in. Hoeing Walks Stephen Wells with one out here in the 5th. That's the second time Wells has been on via the free pass.
And it's good news, bad news, Clay. When you've got a fastball with tremendous life like that, the good news is hitters aren't going to square it up very often, but the bad news is it can be tricky to keep in the strike zone.
First walk allowed by Hoeing.
It's a big inning for Louisville. You just take the lead, and can you? This game has been so back and forth. Can one team establish any kind of momentum in this thing?
Drew Mendoza, a walk and an RBI single. Also scored a run in the 3rd inning. Florida State playing for a chance to be a top 8 national seed potentially, and Louisville hoping to be a host in a regional next weekend. Ground ball off the glove of Levy. Everybody's safe. Hard hit infield ground ball. Second hit for Mendoza. 2 on, 1 out. And here comes Florida State in the 5th inning.
Solid piece of hitting by Mendoza. Levy doing everything he can. Maybe didn't need to dive, almost like he thought he was going to have to really get out there. And it's the thing about third base, you're so close to home plate, you don't have a lot of time for a misread.
Reese Albert's 0 for 2. Having a good freshman season, trying to have a big inning here for Florida State.
It's one of those days, Clay, where if you're the pitching coaches, either Mike Bell for Florida State or Roger Williams for Louisville, you're thinking to yourself, I don't know if we can get 27 outs today. I mean, these offenses are so good. I don't know how we can get 27 of them to make an out.
Florida State 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position today. They were 1 of 11 yesterday. Of course, the big hit coming in the 9th inning. Won the game against Clemson. There's Mike Martin, his team, trailing by a couple now in the 5th. Trying to win back-to-back ACC tournament titles. It's been 19 years, Rune, since the ACC had a repeat tournament champ. The last to do it, the Demon Deacons, in '98 and '99. Wake Forest was 2-Q this year. And they gave up a lot of runs. 16-4 they were outscored in the 2 games.
I remember those Wake Forest teams. David Bush had a long big league career as a right-handed pitcher. Was on those teams, on the '99 team at least.
Tom Walter has taken Wake Forest to the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. It's not going to happen this year.
Very young team, though. You look out for Wake Forest. They played a lot of freshmen this year.
Duke had a terrific year.
Sure did.
That's the team that I think raised some eyebrows in the ACC this year.
Very intriguing postseason team, too, because they've got a dominant bullpen, an older position player group. And remember, they were in the regionals in 2016, so that group has regional experience, which can be so critical.
Come into the day with an RPI of 21. This one popped up left side. The shortstop is Fitzgerald. He's calling for it on the outfield grass, makes the catch, and they're 2 down. Tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN2, Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell from Chicago. Giants, Cubs, Matt, Alex, and Jess are going to be sitting in the stands at Wrigley Field to call the game. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. Baseball Tonight Sunday Night Countdown presented by Chevrolet. Giants under 500, but only 2 games out in the National League West. Cubs 4 games over 500, but 4.5 behind the first place Brewers in the Central.
More importantly, in the stands at Wrigley Field Memorial Day weekend, outstanding.
I can smell the barley and hops from here.
First place Brewers, though. I got my college teammate Craig Counsell managing that club, and his bench coach was our coach, Pat Murphy, former Arizona State skipper. These guys are doing an awesome job up there.
He's Mike Rooney. I'm Clay Matvick. Here in Durham, North Carolina for the ACC title game. Mike, you were a longtime assistant at Arizona State, but since we're doing the ACC title game, we're gonna call you former Notre Dame infielder this week.
I like it. That works.
Brian Hoeing on the mound, 2 on, 2 outs. There's a strike.
I'm telling you, this is what a pitch. I mean, that is that explosive fastball. It's a ball all the way out of Hoeing's hand until it runs over the plate late, and that's at 92 miles an hour. That pitch alone is a handful.
Bornegal puts a charge into this one to left. Long run, Snyder, and he got it. And a tip of the hat from Brian Hoeing. Jake Snyder ran a long way into the power alley to track it down for out number 3 and to keep this a 2-run game. We'll talk to Mike Martin, the Florida State head coach, next. We go to the bottom of the 5th in the ACC title game. Louisville leading Florida State 7-5, and we're joined by the coaching legend Mike Martin.
Hey, 11, Cal Raleigh, if there's a better player in America right now, I'd like to meet him because this kid is on fire. What are you seeing from Cal Raleigh in the second half of the season?
Rooms, I think I really do. I think what it is he's now got a swing that he's comfortable with. He's not trying to do too much. He's just trying to be sure that he's so-called pure in the ball, and gee whiz, he's pured a couple today.
Yeah.
What did you see from your starter, Andrew Karp, there before you brought him out? Because the first couple of innings, he looked really sharp.
He kind of lost his location when we had man in a 2-strike situation. We were trying to throw a slider off the plate away, and we left it in, and that guy can play. This is a very good Louisville team.
All right, Coach, we're going to let you concentrate on the game. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Clay.
There's Mike Martin, the all-time winningest coach in college baseball history, 74 years young. Always enjoy talking to him, and we had to let him go because the game was being held up by our interview, so we had to keep it short with the boss.
He is the best.
So here's Devin Mann now, leading it off for Louisville, leading by a couple. Now, I didn't get to ask him on air here again, but you know, he's been asked several times since passing Augie Garrido, the all-time coaching wins list. I really don't think that he's going to have a chance to reflect on what he's accomplished till after the season. And he's not the kind of guy. He doesn't have that kind of a personality where he's going to rest on his laurels anyway. And I really don't see him giving up this career anytime soon. This is whacked down the line, fair ball. Devin Mann, who had a 2-run homer his last time up, is going to have a stand-up double this time to start the Cardinals' 5th.
Goodness gracious. Clay, I promise you, baseball is not easy. Just Devin Mann is making it look easy, and he is on everything right now. That's a fastball up and in. Boy, he is in some kind of zone right now.
Veteran second baseman, playing in his 163rd career game today. And Logan Wyatt ready to hit next for the Cardinals. And now we have the umpires in a discussion. We're looking at Devin Mann's bat.
Interesting.
Dan McDonnell is out.
Talking about the bat, making sure it meets standards.
Here's Mike Martin out of the Florida State dugout. Home plate umpire is Jeff Gosney.
We do have bat testing in college baseball. The aluminum bats there is an old practice, unfortunately, where players were rolling bats and trying to get the bats maybe a little bit more souped up than how they come normally.
Well, Mike Martin, it seems, had the last word. Then he turns around and heads back to the dugout. But nothing changes. Devin Mann still at second base after the double, and it was a hard hit double.
And it appears his bat's still in the game. His bat was not thrown out of the game.
Well, as hot as he has been, you might wonder about his bat, because it has been heroic here this week. That's not implying Devin Mann is doing anything nefarious, of course, but he has just had that kind of a week.
There is that gamesmanship, too. I don't believe that Mike Martin did this, but I've seen that before, where an opposing dugout asked to have a bat check just to try and get in the mind of a player that is super hot. It's a little bit of a party foul, but I've seen it done. Not a great way to make friends. Ask the other team's best player to have his bat checked.
Logan Wyatt is 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout. Also has a run scored. Louisville leading 7-5. The Cards, winners of 30 of their 40 ACC series since joining the league. But this is the first time that they're in the ACC tournament title game. Stroke to center. Logan Wyatt has a hit. Coming around his man, the throw will be cut off. 8-5 Louisville. Logan Wyatt with his 59th run batted in.
Just Florida State struggling to slow down this Louisville offense. Wyatt, middle of the field. That's about as pretty a piece of hitting as you're going to see. And the Cards keep rolling here.
And Josh Storrs, who touched one off his last time up, a solo shot to left center. At the plate with nobody out. He's going to try and bunt here. Pushes it foul. This is the home run in the 4th inning by Storrs. His 9th.
It was a 3-2 count, and Clark ran a fastball right down the middle of the plate, and that is a no-go versus Josh Storrs right now.
That made it 5-4 at that point. Louisville would score 3 more runs in the inning. And the Zach Britton 3-run homer. Witkowski gets Storrs to swing and miss. 8 runs on 8 hits now for the Louisville Cardinals. Absolutely love that manual scoreboard out in left center.
It's awesome. This is a great yard. Everything about this facility is tremendous.
Witkowski misses outside. Durham Bulls Athletic Park, 9th year hosting this tournament. It's the 11th year it's been held in Durham. Two years at Durham Athletic Park, where Bull Durham was shot, of course. And
there's the bull.
There is that iconic bull out on the left. This is their 30th year anniversary of
hit grass, win salad, Clay. Sorry to cut you off. How about that? Little health aspect to it.
Who wants a salad? I want the steak. By the way, we've got an update on the bat situation. Devin Mann's bat has been removed from the game. They found a flat spot on the bat. Not because it was an illegal bat, but because there was a flat spot on the aluminum. It has been removed from the contest today.
And that will not make Mr. Mann very happy. So we'll see what the rest of his at-bats look like.
Called strike 3. Josh Storrs goes down looking for out number 1. So I got to ask you, was that initiated from Florida State, or did that come from the umpires?
Well, you could see maybe home plate umpire Jeff Gosney saw it, or maybe catcher Cal Raleigh saw it. It'd be almost impossible for Mike Martin in the dugout to be able to notice that. There's no way he could, but maybe Cal Raleigh noticed it, or maybe just home plate umpire Jeff Gosney did.
Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how Mann hits from here on out now that his red-hot bat has been taken out of play. Drew Campbell up there now, a sacrifice bunt and a single. Also scored a run.
Most players, you take their bat, I mean, that's like knocking into a hornet's nest, taking somebody's whoopee. I mean, that's a pretty personal relationship, a hitter and his bat. So Devin Mann will not be pleased.
Well, those guys name their bats. I don't know if Devin Mann does. Campbell into foul ground. Mendoza lost it. And then Mike Salvatore, the shortstop, was too late to get over there to rescue the play.
High sky today, and you see some of the outfielders have had some challenges at times seeing the baseball.
Yeah, you can see Mendoza making sure that his peepers are okay. It is a tough sky. A lot of glare today. Aside from the humidity, it's absolutely terrific. Late swing, barely getting a piece of it there is Campbell to stay alive.
Yeah, I wonder if some Oakleys some shades would help Mendoza. Although sometimes it's not about the sun, it's about the glare, just about that high sky. Going with the eye black instead.
Louisville Cardinals have tacked on another run here in the 5th inning. 1-2 to Campbell, laced. That's a fair ball. Applin grabs it and steps on the bag for the double play to end the inning. Kwiatkowski and the Noles needed that.
Boy, they needed something, and Applin in the right place at the right time. Louisville is rolling.
College World Series right around the corner. And at least 7 teams from the ACC have been in the NCAA tournament the last 9 years. At least 2 top 8 national seeds the last 8 years. Here are your top 8 seeds, and tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's been the best team in the country all year. I think Oregon State right now is playing as well as anybody. Arkansas and Stanford would be that next 2 groups. Ole Miss in the SEC title game today. Georgia's had a remarkable year. I've got Florida State in. I just think they have a tremendous resume. But maybe the most fun team, Clay, is the Stetson Hatters in at 8.
Yeah. Well, the 64-team field will be revealed tomorrow at noon on ESPNU. One of the men who's going to understand exactly how that field comes to be is Ray Tanner, the athletic director at South Carolina and NCAA Baseball Tourney Committee chair this year. He joins us on the phone. How you doing, Ray?
I'm doing great.
Good to talk to you. It's a huge day. A lot of the picture is going to come into focus as the day plays out. We've got Florida State and Louisville here. Florida State still hoping for a top 8. Louisville wants to host. How much is the outcome of today's game going to affect those hopes?
Well, we'll certainly pay attention to what happens around the country today, and we're tuning in to you guys as well. But the good news is it's a challenging situation to set the field. There's so many good teams around the country, a lot of really good conferences. So got a great committee. We've been hard at work since Friday, and we're going to do our best to pick the best 64 teams.
Now J.C. Flowers is aboard with an error. We're back to the top of the order in Salvatore.
So, Ray, I feel like I say this every year, but boy, this year feels so hard. You guys should be getting paid time and a half. It's the bubble at the end is hard. The 16th host is hard. I had a tough time with the 8th top 8. How would you compare this to years past putting this field together?
Well, this is my third year on the committee, and you bring up a good point that we have seeded the final 8 previously. Now we're seeding the top 16. So the task is quite a bit harder. And as you know, Runes, there's a lot of good teams. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs throughout the season. You go on streaks, you got trends, you got trajectory going on. But that's what makes college baseball so good. So it's very time-consuming, tedious, but we scrub the teams, and we'll do our best to try to get it right.
One thing, Ray, I wanted to ask you, somebody gave me an expression that some of this is like comparing apples to screwdrivers. You know, I think about a team like Kentucky that, you know, has a great non-conference resume but struggled in the SEC, to a team like Northeastern that played in the Colonial. How do you guys go about comparing two teams with such different schedules and resumes?
Very deliberately. I mean, we have the opportunity with our technology and all the metrics that we have. I mean, we have some lengthy conversations where we do team-by-team comparisons, and you can come up with a lot of pluses and minuses in different teams from different leagues in different parts of the country. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to get to a point that we feel like one team is more deserving of another. But it's not a simple process, but you put the time in, and at the end of the day, you really try to reward the teams that are deserving.
Mike Salvatore sends one down the line in right field. That's going to plate Flowers. And it's now 8-6. Flowers reaching on an error, getting to second on a wild pitch. And now here comes Florida State back here in the 6th inning. We're talking with Ray Tanner, the NCAA Division I Baseball Tourney Committee Chair.
Ray, one final one for me. The ACC is a great example of, in this new era of power conferences, the unbalanced schedules become so tricky for your committee. I think about North Carolina and Florida State and Clemson all have very different top 8 resumes, even though they're in the same conference. How do you guys address the unbalanced schedule in those leagues?
We look at it. It is part of the resume. And it's not only the ACC, but the SEC and a couple of other conferences, too. Do you play everybody? Who do you skip? Is it teams at the top or teams at the bottom? And it plays into the way we analyze the teams as we go through the process. So that is a good question, but it is not overlooked.
So you're going to announce the 16 regional hosts at 9 Eastern tonight. Is that correct, Ray?
That is correct. That's our attempt. We got at 8:30, I'm told. But
8:30. Okay.
So we're working hard at that. There's still some work to do this afternoon, and
no doubt.
We'll get to that point.
And then the rest of the 64-team field tomorrow at noon on ESPNU. We know you got a big day here today, Ray, so we'll let you go. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you, guys. Good to visit with you.
Ray Tanner, the NCAA Division I Baseball Tourney Committee Chair. And we said before, at least 7 teams have made the national tournament the last 9 years from the ACC. Are they going to get 7 this year, Rose?
I think it's 6, but it really boils down to the top 8s and the top 16s. I just want to say Ray Tanner, for me, the most important man in college baseball. He's a former coach, Hall of Fame coach, and we are so fortunate to have Ray Tanner in our game, and our committee does a great job. There's going to be some unhappy people when this field comes out. That's the nature of the beast, but we have a really good committee, and there's a lot of coffee being drank in that room right now, Clay, and they're getting after it.
Ray Tanner with deep roots in the ACC before South Carolina moved to the SEC. And Jackson Luke works a walk as there is activity in the Louisville bullpen. Reed Detmers, the freshman left-hander who started the first game of the tournament for Louisville, is now working in the bullpen. The lead has shrunk to 2 with a run across here for the Noles in the 6th inning.
Well, this is a big problem for Louisville. Hoeing's got plenty of stuff, but is starting to lose it here, and you're going to face Applin and Riley with damage to be done, traffic on the bases. This is real tenuous for Louisville.
Two on, nobody out, and Red Applin at the plate. Game-winning run batted in last night in the top of the 9th to beat Clemson.
This is the part of the FSU lineup, Clay, that it's make it or break it. You know, it's Luke, Applin, and Raleigh. If you can get through these guys, you've got a chance. But that's real easy for me to say. It's it's a whole different animal.
The 1-0. Spank foul. Applin having a productive ACC tournament, a tournament he missed entirely last year with a foot injury. In fact, he was injured early in May, missed the rest of the year. Seminoles were still able to get to Omaha without him, but he was a big loss. Happy to have him back and healthy this year.
Hoeing could have used that one. 2-1 count if he has to give in with a fastball. The thing is, Hoeing's fastball's got great movement, but Applin is a foul pole to foul pole guy. He'll go with it the other way. Pretty good matchup for Applin, actually.
Make a play. No play.
Inside, 3-1. And the very dangerous Cal Raleigh is in the on-deck circle.
I think this is a ball, but it's a pitch that Hoeing needed. That's off the plate, just barely, but I mean, you almost have to give in to Applin here with a fastball with Raleigh on deck.
Salvatore at second, Luke at first. And now the bases are full of Seminoles for Cal Raleigh. Third walk allowed by Hoeing.
If I'm Brian Hoeing, I'm saying to Zach Britton, unless you're out here to tell me that Cal Raleigh's not going to hit, what are you going to say to me?
This is what Louisville is afraid of. Cal Raleigh, a 2-run double in the top of the first inning. His 6th hit of the ACC championships.
That was first pitch. Raleigh is all kinds of locked in right now.
Roger Williams will make a slow walk out to the mound.
I don't know whether they want to make a move here, Clay, or if this is just see if they can't slow down Cal Raleigh a little bit. Hoeing's got plenty of stuff to be the guy to face Raleigh, but he just hadn't been that sharp this inning.
Well, Hoeing, in his defense, got a ground ball to start the inning. Off the bat of J.C. Flowers, should have been an out. And Devin Mann couldn't make the play. And it just unraveled from there.
Against these offenses, you can't give them a 4th out in an inning. Getting them out 3 times is hard enough, but giving them extra outs, you just can't do it.
They're going to stay with Hoeing here. He has been really good since coming on in the 3rd inning. Up until the trouble that he is in now here in the 6th. Jumping on the first pitch is Raleigh, sends it foul.
Raleigh is not waiting around, and I don't blame him. When you're as hot as this, get your 3 swings on. Although I'll say this, what a pitch by Hoeing. He goes first pitch changeup, and it was perfectly executed.
Now Raleigh jumped on the first pitch in his first AB and delivered the 2-run double. Let's see what he gets here on 0-1. Bases loaded, nobody out. Hits it again. Lined right to Wyatt, who steps on the bag. What a gift for these Louisville Cardinals.
That is the 2nd inning in a row where the best pitch, the best defense is just catch a laser hit at you. Boy, that is something else, because Hoeing went back to the changeup, didn't fool Raleigh at all, and they get 2 outs out of it. Boy, that is a possible momentum changer in this game.
Stephen Wells comes to the plate. Boy, the feel of this inning.
Ooh. That is huge.
Has completely changed.
If that ball's not caught, the circus is coming to town. This inning was about to get out of hand.
Wells lifts it foul. Wells is 0 for 1 with a couple of walks and a run scored.
Boy, Clay, I can't get over what a big moment in the, just trying to score it up. If that ball's not caught by Logan Wyatt, I mean, we're thinking 8-8 game, second and third, nobody out. Not only did this inning change, I feel like this game just changed.
And Hoeing was this close to being taken out of the game. Trying to get out of it. Wells at the plate. He's hit. And Zach Britton, the catcher, is protesting that Wells leaned into it and was hit unintentionally. Now that's going to also be the argument from Dan McDonald.
The only thing is, Wells has to be able to protect himself. That's a breaking ball up into his upper part of his body, and you're turning to protect yourself. Now, did he kind of lean in there a little bit? I'm sure he did. Here's my thing on that, Clay. You throw a breaking ball into the batter's box like that, into the other batter's box, I have no problem with the guy standing there and wearing it. And I would also say this, Clay, our umpires in college baseball have done an awesome job with the hit by pitch. Here's what they look at it. Did the ball hit the batter, or did the batter hit the ball? And I think that interpretation has really helped us with that play.
Drew Mendoza is 2 for 2 today. I don't think Brian Hoeing is going to face him. Brian Hoeing came in with 1 out in the 3rd inning after Florida State had scored 3. He did a great job, but he's done here now in the 6th inning. Louisville leading 8-6, and still leading thanks to this play by Logan Wyatt, a double play ball.
If he doesn't catch this, not only does Louisville get 2 outs for this, but if Wyatt does not catch this play, we're looking at least an 8-8 game, and second and third, nobody out. The momentum changer of all momentum changers right there.
Cal Raleigh, the most dangerous hitter right now in the Florida State lineup, hit a heat seeker to him. And Brian Hoeing is out of the game now after 3 1/3 innings. He is still responsible for the base runners. Reed Detmers comes in. He was the winning pitcher against Wake Forest here in the ACC tournament.
Job 1 is strikes. Louisville has not done a great job throwing strikes so far in this ball game.
Swing and a miss by Mendoza. Detmers went 5 2/3 against the Demon Deacons with 1 earned run given up. 4 hits, struck out 5, walked 2. Comes in here with 2 outs, bases jammed. Strike on the outside corner, 0-2 to Mendoza.
Also an important reliever for Louisville, because you think about Florida State, Applin's a left-handed hitter, Mendoza's a left-handed hitter, Albert is as well. Raleigh, you could argue, maybe a little better left-handed right now. I don't know, just really good both ways. But this is the left-handed reliever for Louisville. Everyone else is going to be right-handed the rest of this game.
Florida State has pushed 1 across here in the 6th inning. They've had 2 in the 1st, 3 in the 3rd, and 1 here this inning. Trailing Louisville by 2 in the ACC title game. Inside to Mendoza, the count's even.
It's a big breaking ball. Just doesn't quite get to the plate.
Gosney's had a good strike zone today.
Very good, very good. Agreed.
Boy, if Louisville can hold Florida State at 6, it would be just a inspirational salvation, because it looked like it was spiraling out of control. Got him! That's what Dan McDonnell wanted from Reed Detmers coming out of the pen.
Reed Detmers coming in and getting a job, flipping that breaking ball in there to get the backwards K of Mendoza. Louisville gets out of this inning with an 8-6 lead.
Reed Detmers getting a big strikeout of Mendoza to end the Florida State threat. Top of the 6th inning. Now the Cardinals hit here. They'll be 7-8-9, leading 8-6 in the ACC championship game. Alongside Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Matvick. Last day of the regular season. All of the NCAA tournament teams will be announced tomorrow on the selection show at noon on ESPNU. We know both of these teams are going to hear their names, Mike. It's just, will Florida State be a top 8 national seed? Will Louisville be a regional host? Those are the big questions for these two.
No question. Florida State, I think, has got a spot-on resume to be a top 8.
Ground ball to Ori off the bat of Oriente, and he is thrown out by Bornegal for the first out. Well, Monday on ESPN, baseball triple-header, Memorial Day, 1 Eastern, Astros, Yankees, followed by White Sox, Indians, and then the Giants and Rockies at 7 Eastern. All 3 games presented by Kingsford. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. We're at a great ballpark. One of the best ballparks in the country, regardless of level. Now, this is the AAA home, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Durham Bulls. It's the regular season home of the Duke Blue Devils, too, from the ACC.
Just a gorgeous park. This has been fun being here. My first trip here to DBAP, it's what a great yard.
Durham Bulls Athletic Park. Britton to center. Flowers runs it down. Britton had the 3-run homer that really changed the feel of this game in the 4th inning. Gave Louisville the lead for the first time, but he's out number 2 here. Now Levy up. This could be the 7th straight year with a conference title, regular season or tournament title for the Louisville Cardinals. And in 3 different leagues, no doubt. The Big East, the American, and the ACC. It's been quite a last few years for that man.
The consistency of the Louisville program since Dan McDonnell's gotten there. And it's ironic they're playing Florida State today, because Florida State is America's most consistent college baseball program. But for Louisville, 5 straight super regional appearances. That means they've won 5 straight regionals. Really incredible.
Backhanded by Mendoza at 3rd. That's a quick inning for Kwiatkowski. First 3 up and 3 down since the first. Welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. Conference championship game from Durham, North Carolina. We head to the 7th. Louisville leading Florida State, the defending conference tournament champs, 8-6. We've got a new catcher for the Cards. It's Zeke Pinkham.
Well, good day for Britton. come in there and get the game started and hit a bomb and
get the rest of the day off.
Go watch highlights of it, I guess.
Now Florida State left the bases loaded in the 6th inning. They were able to get one. And they got Brian Hoeing out of the game, which was a good thing for them. But you wonder if that's going to come back to bite these Noles.
I mean, I don't see how it can't in this regard, Clay. I mean, that could have been a 6-run inning. They could still be hitting right now. I don't know. That had big inning written all over it.
Reese Albert drives it to left and deep up against the wall. Snyder can't make the play. And Albert is standing up at second base with a leadoff double here in the 7th.
It's just a clinic. If Florida State, if you can't throw your fastball in on their hands and you're just going to pitch away, they wear out the other side of the field like no other team in America. And Albert, who is the next group of them coming, he's a freshman and shows you, hits a ball off the left center field wall. Super impressive.
Here we go.
First hit today for Albert. 3rd of the ACC tournament, and that brings up Bornegall.
And that's the thing, Clay. You know how many college pitchers can locate their fastball in over and over again? Exactly. Yeah, like nobody.
Detmers is in the bottom part of the Florida State order. But it's been productive today, and there's another hit. Second for Bornegall. This is going to plate Albert. The throw to second is going to skip into short left field. Second run batted in for Bornegall, the 8-hole hitter. And it's a 1-run game.
The defense for Louisville's been not great in this game. And I'll tell you, Clay, that's a play where Bornegall should not be at second base. It should be 8-7 with a runner at first and the double play still in order. So now Storrs gets a little over aggressive, and you've got the tying run at second base, no longer a double play in order. And don't look up now, Clay, but we're about to turn the order over again for Florida State.
J.C. Flowers hitless in the championship. Tries to bunt, sends it foul. Last time up, Flowers hit it hard to second baseman Devin Mann, who committed an error, and it led to a run.
I like the idea right there. Flowers is thinking push bunt down the first base line. Left-handed pitchers always fall off to the third base side, so they are vulnerable to that push bunt towards the first baseman, especially for a guy like Flowers who just flies, and he would just have to beat Detmers to first base.
Bornegall at second, an RBI single for him, got to second on the throw, no error on the play. Louisville does have 2 errors today, though. Like you said, it hasn't been vintage Louisville defense.
Florida State doesn't sack bunt much, but Flowers has been struggling, and that can be a time where you want to sack bunt for someone that's not seeing it great. Give them something easier to do.
Detmers delivers, pitch outside, 2-1 to J.C. Flowers.
It's really remarkable that Louisville's winning this game, because you think about it, they have not thrown great strikes today. A lot of walks and hit by pitch. They've not played great defense today, but they've played such good offense that Louisville has a lead. Now, not a very sturdy lead at this point.
Nice bunt this time by Flowers. One play for Detmers, spins, fires to first, but he gets Bornegall to third base. So another productive at bat for J.C. Flowers, who has struggled with those this year. He'll get some high fives in the Noles dugout. And we're back to the top of the order.
I'm not the hugest sack bunt guy in the world, Clay, but that's a great time for it. A guy who's struggling. So J.C. Flowers is in that dugout. He's critical to your defense, and he's feeling like, man, I'm contributing. This 8th run, if you're J.C. Flowers, you're as much a part of this as anybody if it comes in.
Mike Salvatore has hit a couple of screamers today. He is 2 for 3 with a walk. They throw it away. Here comes the tying run. And Detmers is kicking himself. An error on the pitcher. 3rd error against the Cards this afternoon.
I'll say this, Clay. You know, man on 3rd, 1 out. The percentages are way against you if you're Louisville. So I like the back pick idea because you don't really have that much to lose. You're in a really precarious position already. Here's the problem. Doing that with a left-handed pitcher is tough. That pitcher, Detmers has his back to 3rd base. Lefties don't throw the ball straight. And here's the real problem, Clay. Look at the momentum change that just happened on that error.
Devastating. I mean, as big as the play at first base by Logan Wyatt was to double up Cal Raleigh and Red Applin, that play right there just wiped it out.
And that's why Dan McDonnell went out to the mound instead of Roger Williams. Dan McDonnell only goes out for 2 reasons. He's making a pitching change, or he wants to talk to his team and say, guys, let's clean it up. We got a chance to win this game, but we're throwing the ball over the joint. I mean, we got a snowball fight going on. I think I'm fairly confident in saying that was the message right there. That Dan McDonnell's saying, boys, we got to lock this up.
Salvatore. Hard hit ground ball to short. Fitzgerald throws him out for out number 2 here in the 7th. Of the 8 runs scored by Florida State today, only 4 have been earned.
It's really cool, though, Clay. This is, to use the boxing analogy, this is 2 really good fighters, and they've bruised each other. And it's getting a little ugly, but it's going to go down to the wire. This is going to be one of those fights that goes the distance.
Jackson Luke.
Hey, what do you say here, Deuce? Get you a little something.
He's behind 0-2.
The composure of these 2 teams, you know, if you're Detmers, you'd think you'd be shaken up a little bit, and yet he is right back making good pitches. I wonder if that back pick at 3rd base was called from the dugout or called. A lot of times you give your players on the field the green light to call that. I don't like pickoffs with left-handers. They can't throw anything straight.
Luke. High pop-up. Foul ground to first baseman Wyatt. Comes back into play to make the catch. And Detmers gets out of the inning, but a costly error, and we're tied at 8. Beautiful Memorial Weekend display here before the game. The paratroopers landing in center field. And on Memorial Day, you can celebrate with the American pastime with a triple header. Starting at 1 Eastern, Astros and Yankees, followed by the White Sox and Indians, then the Giants and Rockies at 7 Eastern. All 3 games presented by Kingsford. Clay Matvick and Mike Rooney back here in Durham, North Carolina. We have a tie ball game now as we go to the bottom of the 7th. 8 apiece. You see Reed Detmers is angry with himself. That throwing error led to the tying run. Red Applin, Cal Raleigh. It'll be Tyler Fitzgerald, Jake Snyder, and Devin Mann, 1, 2, and 3 to hit here in the bottom of the 7th. for Louisville. This game is going to be decided late now, Mike.
It sure feels like it.
8 runs, 8 hits for both teams.
Does not feel like a good game to be the visiting team. Just feels like whoever hits last in this game is going to win this game.
Come on, Cardinals. Come on, Cage.
Here's the Florida State bullpen.
Piece it together. Have an inning.
Jonas Galaro, freshman left-hander, and Connor Grady, freshman right-hander, warming up for the Seminoles.
It's this game, you know, we're down to the final 3 innings, Clay, and this game means a lot to both clubs. You know, Florida State for the right to host a regional and a super regional if they advance. And Louisville is a program that has felt quite disrespected this year. You know, they've been a top 8 seed several years, and they lost the Brendan McKays of the world. And this is Louisville feels like, hey, just because you don't recognize the names doesn't mean we're not an elite program. I love Dan McDonald's theme for this year. You can see their T-shirt right there. Above the number, it says, "I dare you." And what Dan McDonald's message to this young group is I dare you guys to uphold the standard of Louisville baseball. I dare you to be a nationally relevant team.
Foul ground in the bullpen. Applin goes over there and he falls into the front row nearly, trying to make that play.
Just if you're wondering what this means to these players, Red Applin tells you everything you need to know. That's not super comfortable or safe right there.
Not sure why they don't have those brick walls padded. Foul ground there. We saw what happened in Missouri earlier this season, where a player was injured going into a brick wall in foul ground. Bouncing ball to short. Salvatore with a strong throw. Fitzgerald is out number 1.
Luckily for Red Applin, those white cleats have magical safety powers as well. They don't just look good, Clay. I'm getting a pair of those.
And where are you going to wear them?
It's going to be a tough sell to my wife, Jenny, that I need a pair of high-top white cleats, but we can do it. Think positive. Those are awesome. What size do you wear, Clay? You want me to get 2 pair?
No.
Okay.
Where are you going to wear them?
Broadcast. What do you think I'm going to wear? Be the Bobby Cox of the booth.
Check swing, ground ball to third. Snyder is out number 2. Now here comes Devin Mann, who last inning doubled. And then after the hit, the umpires took the bat and removed it from play. They said they found a flat spot on it. And so that bat has been taken out of play. So we'll see how Devin Mann does now with a new stick.
What we don't know is who noticed it and who asked him. Sometimes that comes from the opposing team, sometimes from the umpires themselves.
Clayton Kwiatkowski came on in relief in the 4th inning after that 4-run inning for the Cardinals, and he has done a good job keeping the Cards in check.
Which sounds simple, but it has been anything but simple today. The Louisville hitters are just about as locked in as I've seen them.
Especially Devin Mann, a 2-run homer and a double. He scored twice. 2-1 to Mann. 2-2. Mann didn't think so.
No, he sure didn't. It's like, first you take my bat, now you're ringing me up on a breaking ball in the left-handed batter's box. We're not friends.
Charge to right center. And Flowers is going to run it down in the alley. I thought that was hit harder It actually was. It's a 3-up, 3-down inning for the second straight for Kwiatkowski. Introducing ESPN Plus, your home for more sports, more schools, more conferences, more Mike Rooney, more ESPN. That's really what it is. Stream ESPN Plus exclusively on the ESPN app for just $4.99 a month. Sign up now for ESPN Plus. Practically giving it away.
Seriously.
Well, here we are, 8-8 in the 8th. Louisville and Florida State in the ACC title game. Florida State trying to defend its tournament championship from a year ago. They've won it 2 of the last 3 years. Louisville in the ACC title game for the first time since joining the conference. They joined the league in 2015. Red Applin at the plate in his white shoes. He's been on twice with walks. No hits today. He's always a threat.
Two really pure hitter, 2 really hot teams headed to the postseason. Great preview for the tournament.
And there is his first hit of the day. Rhett Applin is the leadoff man aboard here in the 8th for the Seminoles. What's going to decide this game here late, Mike?
Yeah, I think, Clay, first of all, Louisville's got to clean up all the free passes. Too many errors, walks, hit by pitch. It's got to get better. You're not beating a team like Florida State with that type of, just giving them offense. They don't need your help. For Florida State, I'd be worried if I'm the visiting team, because it just feels like whoever hits last in this game is going to win. Yeah,
both teams have put up a lot of runs today, 8 apiece. That is the 9th Florida State hit of the afternoon. And this is Cal Raleigh up there now, hitting from the right side for the first time.
Boy, pitching to Raleigh is so difficult because there's not a pitch going by that he's not offering at. You almost have to throw it in the dugout and see if he takes it. Normally, you're calling pitches. You love a guy that's just swinging like crazy like this, but Raleigh, everything ends up in the gap.
Last time up, he lined out to Logan Wyatt at first, and it was a double play to get the second out, which was huge. Florida State ended up leaving men on in the 6th, bases loaded situation, and they only produced 1 run in the 6th inning. Florida State has been able to tie it up since then anyhow. 2 runs in the 7th. This is the 6th time today Florida State has had the leadoff man on. And the leadoff man has scored 3 times when getting aboard. High fly ball behind home plate. Zeke Pinkham makes the catch. One down. That's a big out for Louisville. Cal Raleigh, the son of former Western Carolina and Tennessee head coach Todd Raleigh. I think Todd's here in attendance again today. He's been around all week.
I'm sure he is awfully proud of the player his son has become. It's been a great 3-year journey at Florida State, and he is going to be a very high pick here in a week.
Draft on June 4th. And Keith Law, our ESPN draft expert, has been predicting for several weeks now that the top 6 draft choices will come from the college ranks. That's never happened.
Yep.
In the history of the draft.
And it's a testament to the college class because it's a very good high school class too. It's not because there's not good high school players to take.
Oh, they got him picked off. Applin is going to be thrown out. They had Applin leaning, and he's the second out of the 8th.
Florida State does not run that often, but Roger Williams calling picks and pitches for Louisville just guesses right. Right? Clay, this is, the white shoes attract a lot of attention. That's the one downside. It's like a Ferrari, Clay, on the highway, you know? Don't let the shoes fool you.
I do think it has given him some inflated self-confidence because earlier in the game we saw him try to bunt his way on.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big 3-hole hitter, not great speed, but he tried to bunt his way on. And now he was Caught leaning on the base paths. And Stephen Wells will walk down to first base. That is the second straight at bat he has been hit by a pitch. And now Dan McDonald is coming out to argue again.
I would say this, Clay. I mean, is Wells leaning into this pitch? Probably, but look at where it's thrown. I mean, this is all the way in the right-hander batter's box. And Dan McDonald's point is well taken. Wells is clearly not getting out of the way. See Wells. That's a fairly guilty look, is it not?
Well, Dan McDonald,
I like it.
He very animated, but he's going to head back to the dugout. We saw Monty Lee get thrown out last night for Clemson.
But look at where that pitch is. I mean, did he lean into it a little bit? Yes, but that is a big miss from Detmers.
I think the first time he got hit by a pitch back in the 6th inning, he leaned in more than he did this time.
Correct, I agree. I'll tell you one reason Dan McDonald's hot. Because if they manage this right now, Clay, they can finish this game without Applin and Raleigh hitting again. And that would be really important to Louisville. Keep Raleigh in the dugout. Do not let him hit again in this game.
Drew Mendoza struck out looking to end the 6th inning. Reed Detmers came out of the pen and got Mendoza on strikes. They face off here for the second time today. Wells at first. Pitch misses off the plate.
Mendoza always dangerous. You can see how enormous this kid is. He's got great baseball skill. And he could hit a home run to left field. He hit a home run to left center field in this tournament already. He is dangerous to all parts of the park.
Couple of hits today. He's been on 3 times.
Boy, that's a big take right there. Detmers needed Mendoza to chase that. He does not, and now he's in a 2-0 count. Real danger zone right now for Detmers.
Bullpen trying to win this game for Louisville after Bobby Miller, the starter, went only 2 1/3 today. Hit well to right, but hooking foul. Well, that's the kind of swing Drew Mendoza wanted to have. He's got out in front of it a bit.
Definitely a setup pitch right there. Roger Williams called fastball in, try and speed Mendoza up, and now he'll go right back to the breaking ball down the way. Here's the problem. If you don't get the breaking ball down and it hangs up, we could have a 10-8 game. Here comes the breaking ball.
Mendoza, 2-run homer last night. That fooled him, 2-2.
Nice pitch, really nice.
And you got to think Mendoza knew it was coming, just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, this is not lost on Mendoza. He's been pitched carefully his whole life, I'm sure. And now he's in a 2-strike mode, just battle, and he's so big and physical, any contact can be positive.
Anything close here. Anything close here.
2-2 to Mendoza.
You see a lot of picks from Louisville. What they're thinking is that Florida State doesn't want Mendoza hitting with 2 strikes necessarily. Go ahead and send Wells, and if he's out, then Mendoza gets a fresh at bat the next inning. So the chess match is on right now. Louisville trying to read Mike Martin Jr.'s mind here.
In the dirt, Pinkham keeps it in front. Michael McAveen warming up in the Louisville bullpen. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mendoza.
Stephen Wells will be running on contact here. First baseman behind, full count, 2 outs. So a ball down the line, a ball in the gap. Wells could try and score from first.
Tie game here in the 8th. Runner goes, pitches upstairs. Mendoza draws his second walk of the day. First walk allowed by Detmers. Now here comes Dan McDonald.
Michael McAveen, if that's who they go to, this is a power arm. Runner in scoring position, you need somebody that can miss a bat.
It will be McAveen. And he's got the blondest hair of all of the Cardinals. Florida threatening to retake the lead here with 2 outs in the 8th. Florida State has 2 on with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th, tied at 8 with Louisville. And a new pitcher for the Cardinals, Michael McAveen, will be the 4th pitcher to work today for Louisville.
McAveen is a kid that is off of Tommy John surgery with a big arm, has had a great recovery and is absolutely throwing gas. I've heard reports 95 to 97 miles an hour, and we may see all of that in a game today where the adrenaline alone is going to have him amped up.
Hitting with runners in scoring position today. See, Florida State has delivered 5 times. And a lot of runners on. That was a real shortfall for the Noles last night in the game with Clemson. Now, it worked out for them, but they were 1 for 11 last night. But the one they made it count was the game-winning hit by Applin. Reese Albert is up there, hoping to deliver. He got a double to lead off the 7th inning and came around to score.
Wow, first pitch breaking ball. How about that? This is a fun matchup, Clay. 2 of the young guns in the league. Reese Albert's going to be a real guy at Florida State, and Michael McAveen is a big-time power arm. He goes first pitch breaking ball. Would love to see the fastball right here and see what Albert can, if he can catch up to it. Wow, 96. Here we go, Clay.
Oof.
96 coming at you. And you're right, that is the blondest of the blondes. Boy, that's a big fastball. I'd go fastball again. I didn't see Albert really catching up to that in that swing.
Here, let's go now. Put something in play, baby. Let's go. Hey, that way.
Albert trying to climb the ladder and fouls it back. It's now 1-2.
I wonder if McAveen, that first pitch breaking ball, is kind of a show-me pitch. Maybe try and get Albert off of the fastball. But in the game, you know, this is a big part of the game, huge spot. If I'm McAveen, I'm not getting beat on my second pitch. Fastball is my best offering. That's what you're getting. If I locate it right, you're not getting to me.
Wells at second, Mendoza at first. Swung on and missed. Big fist pump from McAveen. Comes out of the pen, does his job. That's exactly what Detmers did to get Mendoza to end the 6th.
Michael McAveen with the big fastball, fired up, getting his Louisville Cardinals in the dugout.
The ACC Baseball Championship is brought to you by Golden Corral's Sizzlin' Fajita Nights. Every night, just $13.99. And Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Back here at Durham Bulls Athletic Park in Durham, North Carolina, the ACC Championship game. Still a lot to be determined here as we go to the bottom of the 8th in a tie game. Alongside Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Matvick, along with our great crew here on ESPN. Logan Wyatt, Josh Storrs, and Drew Campbell, 4, 5, and 6 to hit against Clayton Kwiatkowski. The Florida State reliever has retired 8 straight Louisville hitters. He's even now 1-1 to Wyatt. Has a couple of hits today.
I love Wyatt's numbers. A guy with a bunch of doubles who takes his walks. On base percentage of .485. On base half the time. That is big time.
Rides in and it hits Wyatt on the hand. We hope he's okay. Here comes Dan McDonald. That is a very sensitive spot. That didn't sound good.
No, it's the hands always scare you. Aye.
That is going to be in a bucket of ice after the game. And the thing is, it might not hurt bad enough to where it takes a guy out of the game right now, but there could be damage in there. You just don't know. That's what scares you about the hands.
And you look at it, it's all taped up already anyway. Yeah, you're right, Clay. It's not about this game. It's about next weekend. That's what scares you. Now, he'd be moving his hand super fast away from there if it was really acute pain. So I'd say it's a fairly good sign.
Logan Wyatt, such a vital part of this team.
Must have for Louisville. Really good player.
First team All ACC first baseman. Leads the team in doubles, walks, and on base percentage. He is on for the third time today. And will he continue? We've got a pitching change for Florida State. Clayton Kwiatkowski does an admirable job here in relief for the Seminoles. He leaves in the 8th inning.
Kept him close, and that was the key.
He's going to give way to Jonas Scolaro, freshman left-hander. So back-to-back lefties for the Seminoles. 26th appearance this season, his first in the tournament. A reminder, coming up after we're done here in Durham, we're going to take you out to Hoover, Alabama, the Hoover Met, and the championship of the SEC tournament, Ole Miss and LSU. Ole Miss, there's a chance that they could be a top 8 national seed. It looks pretty good for the Rebels. LSU,
amazing.
They are a great story. About a month or so ago, it looked like they were not even an NCAA tournament team after being a top 8 national seed the last 6 years, and they have gotten hot at the right time.
No, I'd say as of 10 days ago, LSU was not a tournament team. No doubt about it. And Ole Miss that locking up a top 8 seed at this point.
That game is currently on ESPN2. We'll have it here for you on ESPN as soon as we're done here.
Mike Martin's got 2 more moves, or really 1 more. Jonas Scolaro was the next guy he could bring in, and then it's Connor Grady, and that's really been his formula in the bullpen. So,
well, this is good to see. Logan Wyatt is going to stay in the ballgame after getting hit on the hand.
Sure is. Scolaro is your vintage trick-em lefty. It's a curveball and a slider, and you will see a lot of off-speed stuff.
Josh Storrs, one of the toughest outs in this Cardinals lineup throughout the year, has reached base in 43 straight. He has a walk and a solo homer and a strikeout today. Struck out looking his last time up. First pitch from Scolaro is way outside.
Yeah, Josh Storrs showed us early in the game when he knows a fastball's coming, bad things happen to that fastball. So Scolaro's job is to come in here and flip a bunch of breaking balls in here. The problem is Storrs appears to be headed deep into this at bat, where the breaking ball he swings at will be the 3rd, 4th, or 5th one he's seen, and that's scary.
3-0. You know, I'm surprised you, of all people, have not commented on Store's Carolina blue batting gloves. Yeah, what's up with that?
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't catch it. Great catch, Clay. You're really getting onto this accessory stuff.
Popped up. That's going to get out of play. Well, you do
Taught
games
you well.
long enough with you, and you pick up a thing or two.
I like it.
Stores always thrives in the postseason. Went 6 for 10 in the regionals last year. Hit .364 in 3 games in Omaha. This guy loves playing in May and June. And he smokes it to right center. Long run for the outfielders. Flowers covers a lot of ground and gets there. Stores making a bid for an extra base hit, but he's the first out of the 8th.
Boy, Jonas Scalaro got away with one here. That's fastball up and over the plate, and Stores just didn't get it. That could have easily been a 2-run home run. Well, there's something to be said for throwing strikes, Clay.
Yeah.
The hitters will get themselves out, but boy, that was playing with fire right there.
Now Drew Campbell lined into a double play his last time up.
Gave Scalaro a little momentum, and then he's finally found the breaking ball for a strike.
Strike 2. Scalaro leads the team in appearances. But this is his first appearance here in Durham. Lifted to short center. The second baseman, Bornegal, goes out and makes the catch. And Campbell is out. You know, Scalaro, compared to some of the other pitchers we've seen here today, couldn't break a pane of glass. But,
Yeah.
you know, he's gotten guys out here so far.
Something about lefties. It's just funky enough. And again, Scalaro's got 2 breaking balls. He's got that vertical one that he flips in for a strike, and then the more side-to-side slider that he's looking for swing and miss. There's his strike breaking ball. See that early in the count.
Danny, you're due, buddy.
And a different spinner late in the count.
Single and a run batted in for Oriente. Louisville hasn't scored since the 5th. And on the hands, popped up. Can be a tough play. Wells coming in, won't get to it. Runner going to third. The throw is not in time. Wyatt didn't slide. Maybe didn't realize he needed to. That was a close play at third, as Oriente dumps it into right field with a bloop base hit. And now Mike Martin is out of the Florida State dugout. I think they're going to go to the replay review.
As they should. It's a very strange play at third base. I'll tell you what Logan Wyatt forgot is that Stephen Wells has a bazooka in right field. Watch this throw. Zoom. I mean, just a hose. He falls off the base here. Mendoza didn't stay with the tag, though. Great pick by Mendoza. He may be out, Clay. I'll tell you, I could watch Wells throw all day. Look at that. Goodness. Nobody had a better look at it than David Savage, not even us.
Best arm in the ACC?
One of the best nationally. I would say this too, Clay. In the age of replay, something college players need to learn to do is stay on tags. Mendoza tug him and then tried to sell the tag. Your better move is tag and stay on the runner. Boy, this is a huge call. Wyatt's thinking 2 outs. He thinks he should be in easily because he's running on contact.
There's another look. It's got to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. Now, are they going to see something that's going to overturn the safe call, Bruins?
I haven't seen a replay yet that would allow me to overturn it.
He's safe. Play is going to stand. Runners at the corners, 2 outs here for Louisville.
Very fortunate for Logan Wyatt right there.
Yeah, Wyatt, like you said, wasn't cognizant of Stephen Wells' cannon.
Yep.
Pinkham.
Cal Raleigh is absolutely critical right now. Any type of pass ball or wild pitch gets Louisville that 9th run that they want so badly.
Pinkham's first trip to the plate today. And that one sails over his head. Zach Britton was the starting catcher for the Cardinals. And before he left the game, he had a 3-run homer, which in the 4th inning gave Louisville the lead.
I wonder if this at-bat gets to 2 strikes, Clay, if Dan McDonald won't put some type of first and third base running play on. Scalaro is not a good matchup for Pinkham. Left on left, he's got 2 different left-handed breaking balls. This is tough for a left-handed hitter.
Ground ball. And it'll end the inning as Bornegal pitches to Salvatore. So Louisville threatens but comes up empty. We played 7.5. We're still tied. Florida State has come back to tie this game with Louisville at 8, but they had a great chance in the 6th to blow it open perhaps. Cal Raleigh at the plate, and he lines into a double play. And Florida State had the bases loaded and nobody out. They only got 1 in the 6th inning.
With Raleigh and Mendoza coming up, and Raleigh's been the hottest man in America, he has barely made an out in this tournament. So that could have been a 6-run inning easily for Florida State, but it's that kind of game.
Runners left on. It's an ugly number for Mike Martin's Florida State Seminoles. But we go to the 9th in a tie, 8-8. Michael McAveen did a great job coming out of the pen to get the 3rd out in the 8th for the Louisville Cardinals. 4th pitcher to work for Louisville today. Championship game of the ACC tournament. Both of these teams will hear their names called on the NCAA tournament selection show, which is tomorrow at noon. Now, will Florida State be a top 8 national seed and be able to host through the Super Regionals? We'll have to wait and see. Louisville hoping to host a regional next week. Louisville coming into the day with an RPI of 24. Florida State with a glorious RPI of 6.
For me, Florida State should be a top 8 seed. They've got an incredible resume. For me, Louisville needs this. They need a narrative to put them over the top, and winning this title might be just that. The challenge for Florida, Clay, is they got off to a slow start because of how young this team is, and they went 5-5 in their 10 ACC series. I think that's what's going to hold them back from being a host. That said, this Louisville team, as well as they're playing, they have Omaha upside.
Yeah, Louisville has won 6 in a row, 11 of its last 12. You know, they were barely 26-13 a month ago, and now at 43 wins with an RPI of 24. It's been quite a turnaround.
And more importantly, Clay, the kids have grown up. The sophomores are playing with confidence. It's really not their resume as much as how well they're playing.
Rafael Bornegal has had a good day at the plate. And he has worked a 3-2 count here against McAveen. Hit high, medium deep to right center. And Drew Campbell is there to make the catch. Well, tonight, after the Cavs and Celtics wrap up Game 7 over on ESPN, we're going to stick around for SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt. He's going to have post-game analysis from Mark Jackson, Tim Legler, and Stephen A. Smith, plus coverage of LeBron James's press conference and reports from both locker rooms tonight at 11 Eastern on ESPN, and also streaming live on the ESPN app. And don't forget, we're going to have the SEC Tournament Championship game as soon as we're done here in Durham, here on ESPN. Ole Miss and LSU currently playing on ESPN2. J.C. Flowers at the plate for the Seminoles. 1 out in the 9th. Flowers had a big sacrifice bunt his last time up.
Wow. That is not something you want to see in the Florida State dugout. McAveen's got a fastball to keep you up at night, and then he flips this breaking ball in there. J.C. Flowers is thinking, this is not turning out how I hoped.
He's got the white shoes and the white hair.
I like it.
McAveen's 0-2. Trying to get him to chase. Flowers a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning. He strikes out here, 2 down. Rooney, you've made this point before and how important it is to get that top 8 national seed, which Florida State is trying to accomplish here today. I mean, winning this, I guess, still no guarantee, but you know, it would certainly help. Because somewhere between 75 and 80% of Super Regional Game 1 winners get to Omaha. So if you are a home team in that Super Regional round and get out to a great start, it almost means a guarantee to get to Omaha.
Yeah, it's funny because if you just mentally you feel like someone's got to beat me twice on my home field to keep me from Omaha. It's funny though, Clay, over the last 6 seasons, 2012 to 17, only 44% of the hosts have won their Super Regionals. Now, your stat about Game 1 is critical, though.
McAveen can't make the play. The second baseman will. Devin Mann has had a great day. He's had a great tournament. And Louisville will try to win it at the bottom of the 9th.
Boy, Devin Mann, this should have been made by McAveen. He really screens Devin Mann. He gets it done. Louisville coming to bat in the 9th.
It all comes down to Game 7 tonight. Cavs and Celtics, 8:30 Eastern. And coverage tips at 7:30 with NBA Countdown presented by Mountain Dew Kickstart. Right here on ESPN. You can also see it streaming live on the app. Jonas Scolaro will continue to pitch here in the bottom of the 9th against the Louisville Cardinals, who are trying to unseat the defending ACC tournament champs. And the Cardinals hoping to win their first ACC tournament title here today. Chance to win it in the 9th. Levy, Fitzgerald, Snyder, 9-1 and 2.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
If you're Scolaro, not to oversimplify it, but boy, you do not want to get to Mann, Wyatt, and Stores. Never has a 1-2-3 inning been more critical than right now.
Louisville 8 runs, 9 hits, 3 errors. Haven't helped themselves in the field today. Florida State 8 runs, 9 hits, no errors. Louisville 43-16 on the year. The last time they won a conference tournament title, 2009, when they were members of the Big East. What a play by Mendoza over there at third base. Levy hit it on the screws, but Mendoza got up on a step stool and snared it.
And he starts big at 6'5" and a very athletic, toolsy player over there. What fascinating game, Clay. We have seen some brutal defense and some awesome defense all at the same time. That is the third line out to an infielder.
Here's Fitzgerald, hitless today.
Louisville needs one guy to first base and get to that middle of the order. Get that middle of the order involved. Fitzgerald or Snyder, someone's got to get to first base for them.
Fitzgerald got on with a walk in the second inning, and he came around to score. Check that, the third inning. And when he gets on base, he usually makes things happen. He's got 22 stolen bases on the year in 23 attempts. Now, he hasn't delivered a hit yet today. Louisville doesn't care how he gets on. He's popped up behind the screen.
Fitzgerald's another player that has just continued to improve. People were a little worried about the offense. He's a good defender as he moved from third base to shortstop this year, but he's just kept getting better and turned himself into a really nice offensive player.
Drafted out of high school by the Red Sox in the 30th round. 1-2 pitch, breaking ball in the dirt, and slapping on the tag is Raleigh. That's out number 2. Second time Fitzgerald has gone down on strikes. Jake Snyder, 0 for 4. A couple of groundouts and a strikeout. They would love to get Snyder on and then get to the hottest hitter in the lineup, Devin Mann, who's on deck. Scalaro has been tough to hit for these Cardinals series just coming on.
Really commanding the breaking ball right now. I think if you're a Louisville hitter right now, you basically have to punt fastball and sit on the breaking ball. Scalaro is featuring those almost exclusively.
The 1-1. Back up the middle. And that is going to get through into center field. The Cardinals are in business here in the 9th. And here comes Devin Mann. Third inning. 2-run shot to left center.
So impressive, Clay, because that was a changeup that Park looked like he was going to dominate the Louisville hitters with. The third changeup at the at-bat, one too many. Devin Mann got through that in a hurry.
2 RBIs today. He's got 8 RBIs in the tournament. That home run was his 6th of the year.
Boy, now it gets tricky. You're behind in the count if you're Scalaro. 1-0, I think you're throwing the breaking ball right here. You're just hoping that's not what Devin Mann's guessing.
Florida State got a walk-off home run from pinch hitter Jonathan Foster to beat Louisville back on March the 30th and clinch the series. Louisville would love a little payback with a walk-off homer here.
No doubt.
Breaking ball just misses outside. Raleigh, you could see he was a little miffed by that call. 3-0.
So tough here, right, Clay. So do you give Devin Mann the green light to unload on something 3-0, or do you want him to work a walk and get that winning run in scoring position?
Really dangerous hitter behind Mann in Logan Wyatt.
I would take right here. This would be a 3-0 take for me. See if you can't walk that winning run into scoring position.
He's swinging, and it's a base hit to left. Devin Mann slaps a 3-0 pitch into left field. 2 on, 2 out, and Wyatt coming to the plate for the Cardinals. The winning run is now in scoring position at second base. How about that approach?
Love it. I love the aggressiveness of Louisville to green light him right there.
Wyatt 2 for 3. And Mike Martin out of the Florida State dugout. Over on ESPN2, Ole Miss and LSU to decide the SEC Tournament Championship. It's currently over on ESPN2. It'll come your way here on ESPN right after we're finished.
Huge crowd in Hoover anytime the LSU Tigers are involved, and what a remarkable run by Paul Maneri's LSU Tigers in Hoover.
So what was the message from Mike Martin to Scalaro?
I think it's really just calm them down. I think what you're saying to him is, look, you got 2 outs. You're 1 pitch from getting this in the dugout. You're throwing the ball great. You're a great matchup for a left-handed hitter in Logan Wyatt. I think it's more Mike Martin just coming out there and sharing his presence and his confidence.
Let's go, no!
Logan Wyatt trying to be the hero for the Louisville Cardinals, trying to deliver the first ACC tournament championship in program history. And he takes the first pitch inside.
Such a game of inches at this time of the year. Scalaro just misses down with that breaking ball, and now he's in a 1-0 count. If you're Logan Wyatt, you're just thinking line drive, middle of the field.
A ball and a strike.
Great pitch. I'll tell you, Jonas Scalaro is really showing you something. He has pitched in some tough spots and has stepped up and executed almost every time.
The 1-1 to Wyatt. 2-1. Jake Snyder at second base. He represents the winning run. Devin Mann's at first. His run would really mean nothing.
I think if you're Logan Wyatt, you're going to sit on breaking ball here. You've seen 3 of them. How about that? Mike Bell really calling a nice game. Wyatt clearly was sitting on breaking ball there because he'd seen 3 straight, and they shock him with the fastball. We got a little game inside the game right now, Clay.
Two on, 2 out, the 2-2. Breaking ball that is smashed to right, but right at Stephen Wells, and the inning is over. Now Logan Wyatt was sitting on that breaking ball and got a pretty good piece of it, but we're going to extra innings tied at 8. Well, it's going to take extra innings to decide this year's ACC tournament champion.
Boy, really good at bat for both the pitcher Jonas Scalaro and also Logan Wyatt, who stayed convicted on breaking ball, just misses that. Scalaro just keeps making pitch after pitch. We've seen some really good baseball, Clay.
And we'll see it here in the 10th. Jackson Luke leading it off for Florida State. 2, 3, and 4. Luke, Applin, and Raleigh. And Luke is swinging at the first pitch, but sends it foul. Well, if experience in extra inning games is any clue to how this is going to finish, Florida State has a decided advantage. They are 6-1 this year in extra inning games, including a win over Virginia here in this tournament. 3-2 in game 1 for the Noles. Louisville has played just 1 extra inning game this year. They're 0-1. The loss to Indiana, the midweek game, 9-5.
At some point, pitching's going to get a little dicey, especially for Florida State. Scalaro and then Connor Grady, that's really what they've got in the pen.
Michael McAveen has been working in relief here since there were 2 outs in the 8th.
And, you know, McAveen, remember, is a year off of Tommy John surgery, so it's a short, he's a short spurt guy. He probably has another 10 to 20 pitches left.
Two and 2 to Jackson Luke.
Boy, that is 95 miles an hour. That is some kind of arm.
Another example of a guy who comes back throwing probably harder than he was before Tommy John.
It's really amazing. One of the things that happens when guys do the rehab from Tommy John surgery is they have a chance to really work on their mechanics.
that away from him. It's full count. Florida State finished 4th in the ACC Coastal at 16-13. They've racked up 3 more wins against conference opponents this week. They got 42 wins on the year. Might be a top 8 national seed. That's inside. Didn't hit him, but Luke is going to be aboard with a walk. Leadoff man on here in the 10th for Florida State.
First baseman, number 38, Brett.
You know, Clay, as good as Louisville has played offensively, they have played with fire defensively all day. Errors, hit by pitch, now a leadoff walk. And, you know, at some point, you've got to, that bill comes due.
Go, Michael.
That is the 9th walk for Florida State today. You know, with 3 errors and 9 walks, you wonder how Louisville's even in this ball game, let alone tied.
And I would say, Clay, I mean, obviously Florida State's they lead the country in walks again this year for a reason. But 9 walks, if you're Dan McDonald Louisville, you're saying that's on us. You know, if they get 3 or 4 walks because they really see the ball great, that's one thing. But if we walk 9, we just did not get after the strike zone.
Brett Applin at the plate. The lash at foul. Louisville bullpen. Shea Smitty, right-hander warming up. He pitched a couple of scoreless innings Friday against Duke.
Single-digit pitcher, number 5. I'm in on that.
What was your number?
Oh gosh, 5 actually was the number I had the most. But my first couple of years, let's just say, if there was a big recruit coming in, he was open to have my number.
You were 96. Line drive into right field, base hit. Luke will stop around second and come back to the bag. First and second, nobody out as Florida State has got it going here in the 10th.
For me, Clay, Cal Raleigh coming to the dish, this is not a bunting situation. This is your guy. You are going to let him swing.
Yeah, and he has swung at the first pitch, I think, every at bat today. He's 1 for 5, that 2-run double coming back in the first inning. But his outs have been hit hard. We'll see what he can do here against McAveen, provided McAveen stays in. It might have been a stall tactic by Pinkham.
Yeah, because McAveen's not a great double play guy. He pitches up in the zone. McAveen is a high velocity, either strikeout or fly ball guy. So he's not, if you're Louisville, I don't know if he's the guy you want in there if you need a double play.
Well, he's going to pitch to Raleigh. Again, swings at the first pitch. Defense is playing Raleigh to pull.
For sure. How about that? McAveen's got 96 miles an hour in there, and he's going first pitch breaking ball to Cal Raleigh. It's in a spot like this, it's not about arm strength. You got to be able to make pitches.
This is the 5th at bat, left-handed, I should say, for Raleigh. He had 1 at bat right-handed. Florida State 5 for 14 with runners in scoring position today.
Big take for Raleigh right there. He chased the breaking ball, but you could clearly see he had reined himself back in, was on that fastball. Managing the at-bat pitch to pitch. Very impressive.
Luke at second, Applin at first.
Come on, Cards.
Florida State trying to take the lead here in the 10th inning. They have left 11 men on base today. They've scored 8, but they've left a lot out on the base paths.
Drop one here, kid. Drop one.
Oh boy. That was 1-1 breaking ball, Clay, and McAveen just couldn't find it. So now if you're Raleigh, you have the opportunity to just camp out on a fastball. So here's the real question. Does Roger Williams and Dan McDonald, do they feel confident calling a breaking ball here? Because Raleigh is going to be all over a fastball.
It was a fastball, and it caught the inside corner.
Wow, that is a big-time pitch. McAveen starts it in off the plate and runs it right to the black. You can't throw a better fastball in that spot. Well, you go to the breaking ball right now, I think you're going to have Cal Raleigh all kinds of twisted up.
The 2-2 to the Florida State cleanup man. In the dirt. McAveen spiked it, and Pinkham is able to keep it in front of him to keep the base runners at second and first.
You know, Clay, this is a big-time play by Pinkham. That's a fastball he just blocked with his body, no less. You know, that's just catchers work on blocking breaking balls. Blocking a fastball, you just suck it up for the team is really what it boils down to.
ACC title game, extra innings. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, nobody out. McAveen will loop back to second.
It's Pinkham he's putting a sign on. If Florida State runs, is he throwing to third base or second base? They're going to probably throw to second base would be my guess, because Applin is the runner that would be easier to get. I don't think you're getting Luke at third base. Too good of a runner.
Power on power here. McAveen versus Raleigh. 3-2. Struck him out. Love the emotion from McAveen.
5th and only hitting .265. It's because he has gotten hot in the second half of the season.
The 1-0 in the dirt. Pinkham has to come up big again.
See Pinkham really earning it right now. That's you don't block that up, Clay. You're now looking at second and third, 1 out. You got a big problem. What a play.
McAveen needs to bury a strike here. You've got Mendoza on deck. Time is called.
You're Wells. You're just sitting on fastball. For Stephen Wells, you can't be late on fastball. You get a fastball you like, you're on time.
The 2-0 pitch. Up and in. 3-0. Drew Mendoza. He would love to get a chance to come up. But the base is loaded. Dan McDonald out of the Louisville dugout.
It's a funny situation. Dan McDonald's out there, and he may make a change, but he's thinking, guys, it looks a little dire right now, but we're really 1 pitch away from getting in the dugout. I think McAveen's at the end of his rope. Dan McDonald agrees.
Shea Smitty coming in for the Louisville Cardinals. This will be his second ACC tournament appearance. Pitched really well in the game against Duke. And now he comes on in a tough situation in the 10th. Shea Smitty be the 5th pitcher of the day for Louisville. In a 2-on, 1-out situation, he'll inherit a 3-ball and no strike count.
See a lot of walks and a lot of strikeouts. That's because it's a really good breaking ball.
Michael McAveen just kind of ran out of gas.
Sure did. And that's, you know, first year off of surgery, that's going to happen. But I'll tell you, he showed you if I'm a Louisville Cardinal fan, I'm excited about that kid's future. That is a big, big arm.
So it's Stephen Wells at the plate. 3 balls, no strikes. 2 on, 1 out.
Got to be taken here, right, Clay?
Think so. And Drew Mendoza is in the on-deck circle for the Noles. Winner's the ACC tournament champ.
Gotta come to you here.
Smitty sets and fires well outside. Bases loaded for Mendoza. Last year, he was the hero in the ACC tournament title game. 2 homers against North Carolina in that 7-3 comeback win. Can he be the hero? And again here for Florida State in the 10th inning. Put them in front.
If he's going to do it, Clay, he's going to have to hit a curveball. Schmitty's got a really good 12-6 true curveball. He is coming in the game to throw that pitch. Mendoza should see a bunch of them.
Wells, the 10th Seminole to walk today. Luke at third, Applin at second, Wells at first. .76-mile-an-hour breaking ball misses off the plate.
So the alignment, Clay, they're going to turn 2 in the middle. The middle infielders are deep because Mendoza's not a good runner. And even Wyatt at first base, a little depth there because he's on the pull side. If a ground ball's hit to Wyatt, it's going to be a bullet.
Inside, 2-0. Didn't miss by much.
So if you're Mendoza, I think you're just locked in on a fastball right here. If you see the breaking ball up, go ahead and fire. I don't know if you're Smitty, how confident are you? You've thrown 3 straight balls. Can you go breaking ball here?
Hit well to right. That could clear the bases. 1 run is in. 2 runs will score, and that's it. But Florida State has the lead 10-8 as Drew Mendoza delivers again.
Left fielder, number 23, Reese Albert.
Clay, eventually not throwing strikes, not managing counts is going to get you. Mendoza's too good of a player for him to be able to know he's getting a 2-0 fastball. He's just too talented for that. And that's the situation Louisville painted themselves into this inning with a leadoff walk and just a lot of bad counts. Still a long way to go in this inning for Louisville.
No question. 3rd hit today for Drew Mendoza. 2nd and 3rd runs batted in of the day. And now Reese Albert. Infield drawn in. It's chopped outside of the bag at first.
Right idea by Albert. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Your job is 3 swings at pitches you can handle. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can get a ball through this drawn in infield, good things are happening.
Seminoles fans coming alive here in the 10th. Drew Mendoza turned down some money to come to Florida State. He was drafted in the 36th round by the Tigers a couple of years ago. He would have gone higher, but he made it clear he was coming to Florida State. Both of his parents went to Florida State. And he has put the Seminoles ahead by 2 here in the 10th inning. Now 0-2 to Reese Albert. He just flicks it foul.
That's nice. That's a lost art right there, to be able to just foul off a pitch, spoil it, and get yourself to a mistake. That is really impressive. You don't see freshmen doing that all that often.
You don't see big leaguers doing it that much anymore.
Not enough.
You don't see guys choking up with 2 strikes in.
Unfortunately.
It almost looked like Pinkham got crossed up there. Rose.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he's not running out the mound to talk. Either he caught that in a very strange way, or, I mean, that clearly looked like he got crossed up. I'm not sure why you wouldn't talk that over if that happened.
Outside, 2-2.
And it's a real problem for Smitty right here, Clay. He just does not have command of the breaking ball. And so Albert is feeling very confident he's getting a fastball here.
Two runs in for Florida State here in the 10th. The 2-2 to Albert. Slow roller to short. That's going to get another run home for Florida State. And it's 11-8.
He got surprised by the breaking ball and hit one of those cue shots. Fitzgerald does a nice job to even get an out, and really nice base running by Stephen Wells. Got a great jump and took play at the plate away from Fitzgerald.
And now Pinkham's going to come out for a chat with Smitty. Another reminder, Ole Miss and LSU for the SEC championship. It's currently on ESPN2. We'll have it on ESPN as soon as we're done. 2-1 Ole Miss in the bottom of the 3rd right now. 11-8 Florida State leading. Trying to repeat as ACC tournament champs. There hasn't been a repeat champ in this league since 1999. Wake Forest won it for the 2nd straight year. Liam Jenkins is now warming up in the Louisville pen, and we may see him. Here comes Dan McDonnell again. Well, you got to look back, Rooney, to that leadoff walk drawn by Jackson Luke. It just started everything going in a southward trajectory for these Louisville Cardinals here in the 10th.
And that Jackson, Drew Mendoza is the hero here, Clay, but Jackson Luke is really starting to play. Even last night in the game against Clemson, which was a really heated game for them to get here, Jackson Luke drew a walk and ended up being the winning run.
Liam Jenkins will pitch next for Louisville as Florida State has scored 3 here in the 10th, and they're not done. The big blow from Drew Mendoza. Pitcher number 6 for Louisville, junior right-hander Liam Jenkins. And he will try to keep this to a 3-run deficit for Louisville in the 10th.
See the size, that's the real difference maker. 6'8", big physical guy. A lot of walks, a lot of strikeouts. Almost 2 strikeouts per inning. It's really good stuff when Jenkins is commanding the baseball. And he's a swing and miss guy, which is exactly what Louisville is looking for right now.
Three big runs this inning for the Seminoles to take the lead. You've got Mendoza at 3rd. Rafael Bornegal, who's been good at the plate today with a couple of hits, a couple of RBIs. He's at the dish. Don't forget, Ole Miss, LSU over on ESPN2 right now. It will come your way next here on ESPN. It decides the SEC Tournament Championship. Ole Miss is going to be a top 8. It would appear LSU has done a great job playing their way into the NCAA tournament here over the last 4 or 5 weeks.
You know, Paul Maneri has had LSU as a top 8 seed for 6 straight seasons.
Yep.
I would argue, Clay, this team is his best coaching job at LSU.
Yep.
All the injuries they've had, Eric Walker, no Josh Smith, and yet this team's got a chance today to win the SEC championship. That is amazing, and that place is going to be rocking.
A former reliever
Is
playing
rocking.
first base and second base this year and playing well. Bain has been a terrific story. And that will come your way next. 2 balls and a strike here to Bornegal. This inning can't end soon enough for Louisville. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 10th, they've got Storrs, Campbell, and Oriente due up 5, 6, and 7. 2-2.
97. Wow.
Ground ball. Last chance for the Louisville Cardinals. They're down 3 in the 10th. TD Ameritrade in Omaha. This is moments ago. Dan McDonnell trying to rally his troops. Down 3 in the bottom of the 10th. His team was in Omaha last year, and the theme is keep chopping wood.
Love it. I love him saying they think they're going to win this game. Oh, wow, that is cool. Hey, this Louisville team is nothing if not aggressive and playing forward.
They've won 6 in a row, 11 of their last 12. Jonas Scalaro, though, since coming out in relief, has kept them off balance. And Storrs swings at the first pitch. High fly ball to center. It's going to stay in the yard. Flowers makes the catch. And he's quickly 1 down here in the 10th.
I got to be honest, Clay, I don't love first pitch swinging there. Give the pitcher a chance. You know, this is a nerve-wracking moment for Scalaro. Give him a chance to be nervous and maybe gift you. There's so few rallies that happen in baseball that don't involve either an error or a walk or both. And first pitch swinging, you're really not giving yourself a chance at that.
Trying to bunt his way on here is Campbell. How about the relief today for Florida State? Kwiatkowski and Scalaro. 6 1/3 after Andrew Karp fizzled out after 3+. Giving their team a chance here today.
Incredible. It didn't look good at the time either, did it?
No. Ole Miss and LSU coming up here on ESPN. The game is currently over on the Deuce.
How about Ole Miss, Clay? Missed the NCAA tournament last year, and this year they're going to be a top 8 seed.
Mike Bianco's team has been terrific. Ryan Olenek has had an amazing year.
Sure has. Toughest player to strike out in that league.
Rollison's going to be a first-round draft pick. Terrific pitcher. Swung on and missed. And now Florida State is 1 out away from repeating as ACC tournament champs.
Designated hitter 9, Danny Oriente.
Comes down to Oriente. about Mike Martin? All the accomplishments, all the awards, and at age 74, they seem to keep coming. Ground ball could end the game. Mendoza, the throw across the diamond. You bet. Florida State repeats as ACC tournament champs. 8th tournament title in program history. And they're 3rd in the last 4 years, Mike Rooney.
What a run by Florida State. They lose Tyler Holton, their first-team All-American to start the season, their Friday night guy, and yet they just put it together and win another ACC tournament championship, and they're going to be a top 8 seed heading into the NCAA tournament.
'43rd win for the Florida State Seminoles. 4 straight here in Durham to win another ACC tournament championship. Last out. Oriente with the ground ball to Mendoza.
And what a play by Mendoza, who's been so good in this game. Backhands it, a bazooka across the diamond.
Fourth straight year in the ACC title game for the Seminoles. They have won for the 3rd time in those 4 years. How about the 15-1 record here at the ACC Tournament Championships?
Goodness. That's why they've won so many regionals.
It's been fun, Mike.
Awesome.
Mike Martin, the legend, being congratulated for another championship. 11-8 the final, the SEC championship. Ole Miss and LSU coming up next. For Mike Rooney, I'm Clay Matvick. So long from Durham. We head now to Hoover, Alabama.